my dress, far away from this masquerade. I've been so used, I've been so abused, I've been a fool, I broke all the rules. I've been so used, oh, abused, and I won't let the show go out, and I won't let the show, oh, I won't let the show go.
Is that the time already? It must be time for Raconteurs News. I must get my computer on.
Welcome to Raconteurs News.
Good evening and welcome to Raconteurs News, bringing you untwisted, unsweetened news with myself, Andy Young and Jason Holmes. And it's the 8th of March, and I hope you all had a fabulous weekend and a brilliant start to the week. How you doing, Jason?
I'm very good, thanks, Andy. Very good indeed.
Okay, mate.
Feeling good. Feeling excellent. I feel as though we should mention our website, though, right at the very beginning, just so that everybody knows where we're from. It's raconteursnews.com, and you can listen live on there. And there's a chat room as well, isn't there?
Yeah, there's a pretty fully functional chat room. You can make the text all the colours you want, all kinds of things you can do in there, private messaging. Brilliant setup. I really love it. And there's a player on the page above the chat room with this episode. If you haven't got this episode, just refresh the page and that should come up there for you. But tonight, we've got a great guest on. It's somebody who's been on with myself and Tom several times over the time we were together at Enemy Within. And we finally got to meet face-to-face at Leeds a few weeks ago. So, without further ado, I'll introduce you to Del Henry. Good evening, Del.
Evening, Del.
Good evening, Jason, and good evening, Andy. It's good to hear from you both. Yeah, it's good. It's been cool. Just had a good chat with you yesterday. And, yeah, I'm pretty much like up and raring. But, yeah, it's been interesting. We're in interesting times, I have to say. And as I always say, the plot thickens, but there's no total fluidity with. There's no fixed plan with this. They run things on time codes. I refer to them as Jesuit time codes. So everything that's being run right now is all magic, and they never put anything firmly down straight away. There's always an element of fluidity to it. So I'm glad you got me on the 8th. 8 and 3 is 11, and on the year is at 9 when you add all the numbers up, and again, so it's 9/11. So I like the math. Throw some curves at them, hit them with some square numbers as well. Let them know it's not no joke time. So they can try and throw the numerology at me, but I'll just throw it back at them with some spinning curves up them, and they start running off. So yeah, I'm glad you got me on today, just for the fact that you told me it was the math added up right. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased to be up on here. So yeah, what's up?
Great, Del. Well, one thing that did occur to me as well, it's not just the date, it's also a new moon, time of new beginnings.
Yeah, new moon as well. So it's the planets are aligned as well, which is always important because this everything that's done in third density, third dimensional Earth, is all about energy, and therefore a new moon brings a different phase of energy. So everything happens when you've got full moons, new moons, and when planets align, because everything is interlinked in this part of the solar system, as it is throughout the entire universe. So I have to say it's important with all the alignments and stuff like that, and the energies that are around at this time.
We've the last couple of days we've had the Northern Lights being visible for even right down to Oxfordshire. Again, that's a form of energy, isn't it? It all adds up in the universal thing. You know, it's been quite interesting times.
Yeah, and everything is, because everything's totally interlinked. Nothing is incident or coincidence, and that's why the priesthood, the Jesuit Roman cult, will do things when things are aligned properly, because the energies allow them to do that, and it's all about energy and magic. So it is important that you have an awareness of the math, as well as there's the energy aspect to it as well. So yeah, you have to have your eyes open on all fronts, as well as symbolism, as well as also mainstream events, as well as day-to-day conversations with people who are spitting programs at you left, right, centre, because they don't know what's going on. So yeah, you have to have an awareness of the whole spectrum, to have an ability to shift through the foolishness and make sure that you're actually keeping yourself on point and centred, and not getting caught up in the fear-mongering and all the illusionary falsehoods.
Yeah, there is a lot of fear-mongering about, isn't there? And not just in the mainstream, but also in the alternative as well. It seems that fear is used as a tool in the mainstream and in the alternative in the alternative media.
Yeah, that's mainly because people are not dealing with themselves, and they're based in their own egos, and they're able to get caught up by energy, which is connotative linguistics, which is programming. In this illusionary system, but the energies that are based down here have been deliberately and harnessed down here by the dark priesthood, Roman Jesuit cult. So it's been deliberately done so that anybody in any kind of the mainstream, or whether it's alternative or whatnot, they've constantly got a barrage through connotative linguistics, a constant barrage on the mind. And you're always told in the Matrix the biggest battle was for the mind. Once that's free, everything else is totally irrelevant, because you can't be put back to sleep again. So you'll always see the truth, and you can never lie to yourself. And like I always say, you always have to do your own due diligence, because you confirm your own truth.
Dale, that's reminded me of a conversation I had the other night, and it was with a mutual friend of ours. And I've always understood, well, not always, I've recently understood a bit more about how powerful language is, and how words are spells, hence spelling. But something was said about how the word Switzerland, you start doing lexigrams of the word Switzerland, and there's so many dark words inside it. But I said, well, surely that's a bit strange, because Switzerland is a bastardisation of the Swiss name, which is in either French or German or Italian or Romanish, whichever you want. And that person then said to me, well, yeah, but English the language, was quite a recent invention as far as history goes, and it appears that it is the language of spells. So therefore it seems obvious as to why they're making English, or trying to make English, the universal language. Is that a good understanding of how you see that, Dale?
I'll answer it to say this, and this is my position on it. The issue is, people are not taught the science that runs the planet, and they're not taught the science how humanity works, and they're not taught any real science. The problem is, the issue is the dark priesthood has got everybody running around the world and in darkness and not knowing the truth. And so, as it says in the Dark Priesthood's book, everybody wanders round after beasts after he does, as if performs marvellous miracles, and one's after the beast, but nobody can tell us what the beast is. And the issue is the priesthood have got the real science that's involved with running this planet, as well as how it relates to other planets within the solar system, as well as that relates to the sun, and how the sun relates to the cosmos and the universe and the omniverse and back to the universal essence, right from the get-go. And because they have an awareness of that, they don't have the total science, but they have an awareness of how the relationships are there. They might not know how they work, but they can see it because they've got a mindset that is different, because they're dealing with a totally different way of thinking compared to what we're given on mainstream. And the biggest program that they use is connotative linguistics, which is language. And the problem with the English language is it's what I class as an acidic language. All the tones have been taken out of the language. So the language is a very slow-moving, very acidic, very low vibrational-based language, which is why I tried to make it universal. The tones have been taken out of the language deliberately, and so it limits your body and it limits your body's experience. The language that's spoken, because it's got linguistics in it, connotative programming in it, like devil, you turn it backwards, it means lived. You know, you've got other words that I could just bring, like live, you turn it backwards, it means evil. So the linguistics of spells being cast in this language, it's programming you. And so when you're using them, when you speak in that tone, it's coming back, the spells are coming back and bouncing on you, which is why when you go to school, they teach you how to spell, because they are casting black magic and spells. So what you have to do to get around that is you have to learn the main functions of language, which is etymology. And that is a science, the etymon, the science that treats positive and treats the language, and it comes from its source, the etymon, which deals with the energy and the metaphysics and the principle behind the tonation and the sound. So not only are you breaking the words down, but you're also getting to the root of the word and the energy behind the word, thus removing the spell of the dark priesthood. And this is what the priesthood will deal with stuff etymologically, but then they'll give us linguistics, connotative programming and spelling, give us the foolishness, but when they're in their secret sister societies in the lodge, they're using the real stuff like we're talking about now, the etymology, they're breaking down the words correctly, and they can't be programmed by the same illusion, which is why most of the dark priesthood speak ancient languages like Latin, which has got more tonation in it, because they know that the body functions biologically on tones and energy and vibrations, and so they want people to be dumbed down using a acidic language, spitting the programs that the priest can cast spells on them, and they're actually casting spells on themselves because they're agreeing to the illusion as well at the same time. So yeah, I totally agree with you that it is an acidic language, and the real language like the Hebrew, like the Latin, most of them have got lots more tonation in the language, and on top of that, the symbols in those languages are derived from like the ancient texts, from the ancient peoples of the earth from millennia ago. So that has got symbolism, and those symbols speak 1,000 words, and they tell a lot more truth about what's been going on in this planet and what's been going on in this part of the universe and in this solar system. So the priests deal with the real stuff, keep it for themselves, selves, but humanity have the falsehood and they're chasing around running after the illusion. So I'll stop there. I hope that fills a bit of that in.
Yeah, excellent. Ken's just mentioning there in the chat room, Plichter explains the real science, possibly. And then he goes into X squared, Y squared geometry, intersecting planes at 90 degrees, hence the space mirror, which gives you a true reflection. Are you familiar with that at all, Del?
No, but as I just said, the ancient languages, and I just said, use symbolism, that's pictures. If you look at that, the ancient Hykuptans, people call them Egyptians today, they're not, it's Hykupta, use these ancient names. They used telepathy. They used the art form of pictures and symbolism, and that taught, as I said, one picture could say 1,000 words. So like he was saying, they used more higher forms of communication skills than what we're using today. So he's right. But so pictures have a very unique geometry. They used to use sacred geometry in the ancient times, specifically because within that geometry, those vibrations within that geometry could download stuff into your DNA that taught you about the universe, and he's totally correct. So that's absolutely right. And the priests would know this. This is why they don't want everybody lighting up their aura spheres or chakra systems, because they'll be able to tap into the Akashic current where all the information is that's been happening on this planet for millions of years. And so they don't want the people to deal with the real science, because if they were dealing with that, they'd cut the dark priesthood out of the way in the first place.
Yeah, well, You mentioned the Egyptian hieroglyphics there, and something I read quite recently when I was reading Graham Hancock's latest book, the notion that this civilization built such magnificent wonders that they did, and the only written language they had was pictograms, does seem a bit spurious. So do you believe that rather than a more advanced written language which has remained hidden from us, they actually used telepathy?
Yeah, they used to use stuff with their minds because we wanted as a lower third density back then. It was more higher up because the ancient the Great Pyramid is a transmutation device for the Macabre. They took all the crystals and the top energy stuff out of it. The Jesuits have took the crystals and the functions that made it work in that way out of there, because they knew what the ancient Hiccuптans were able to do. So they used, and it just wasn't them. You had the Aboriginals, where today known as Australia, the original people there that used to use the dream time. They used to communicate through dreams. Again, that's energy, that's vibration, that's another way of communicating. The ancient civilizations in what today you call the United States, the old Washita, the old Mers, they used to do the same thing. Same with the biggest pyramid is in the Yucatan in Mexico. The world's largest pyramid, and again they know what the ancient they were used for. They used to be way in advance of this civilization. So I mean, these civilizations on this planet were all over the world. Most of the places you can't visit because the priesthood have got locked off with most of the armies, so you can't get in there. But yeah, a lot of the ancient knowledge is in the catacombs at the Vatican, and if they couldn't get rid of it, they simply just won't let people go there. So there's a lot of hidden truths all over the planet that are here that people would really need to get to know, because it would help them realize actually that we are multidimensional beings, and we have the potential to use that scope, but unfortunately that's not happening because we speaking a lower acidic language, and the potential of humanity is being led in the darkness by the dead priesthood.
Excellent, Dale.
But this is all... Sorry, go on, Andy.
No, sorry, you go ahead, Jason.
What I was sort of getting at, I mean, this is all really, 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 really old and complicated stuff to be researching. I mean, how long have you been researching all this sort of stuff? And what started you off?
Well, you don't get a choice in this kind of thing. You always knew something was not quite right with society. You always knew that from when you were here. You always knew something wasn't quite right. And I always got the fact that something never added up, it never took away right, it never divided or multiplied right. But to be honest with you, around about, we took 2016, so we're talking 7 years ago, this October the 23rd coming, I had a spiritual awakening, totally off the chain. And it took me a good couple of months to settle my head down, and I was struggling for a point to begin to find why I'd had that change in me at that particular point in my life. But nevertheless, once I managed to finally settle down and start to do the research on this stuff, but again, things happen to you where you're able to pick up things beyond what people will accept as mainstream. So you can't just get some stuff in the book, but I was telling you, people can download stuff because they can tap into the Akashic current. Do you know what I mean? People can tap in and get information from just not normal sources. So that spiritual aspect of it, you pick up a lot of that when you begin to learn this stuff. When you spiritually wake up, a lot of it, you get the information because it's in the air. So to be honest with you, I've done a lot of research through factually going to different places as well, reading as well as actually having a spiritual experience, which allowed me to pick up a lot of this period. So it's a bit of everything. You can't have one way with this thing because there's so much illusions the priesthood have got everybody running around after that you have to have your hand in every single pot, and you have to be able to decode the foolishness, truth, and extract the truth out of everything and keep it moving, because otherwise you'll be constantly running down rabbit holes, to be honest with you. So yeah, I'd say a combination of reading books, doing factual research by going to different places, as well as doing research, doing stuff on the internet, but also having that spiritual awareness, and that woke me up as well. So it's always probably been with me to some degree. It's just that I didn't realise it until I was ready to kick in and wake up. So yeah, it's a bit of everything. You never have one total way to research. Otherwise it limits you.
Thanks for that, Del. It's nice to know how you got started there. When I put up the little blog to let everyone know what we're going to talk about tonight, I thought it's quite a hot topic at the moment, and personally I haven't been watching it that closely because I see it as a big horse and pony show, but I did think it might be just an idea to discuss the EU and the upcoming referendum and see what your thoughts are on that, Del.
Yeah, I mean, again, I agree with you, Andy. It's been ridiculous, him going over with the EU and all this foolishness. Like I said with you, it's just absolutely manic. It's a big ecclesiastical black magic illusion. It's all fraudulent. And the priesthood, the dark priesthood win either side anyway. The biggest aspect for me is the fact that I realised that they need people to contract. So if you go back to the Second World War, you go back to the First World War, there were certain constants that always happened. There was always elections. No matter what was going on, you always had elections. And that says something. Even in a time of war, you still had elections. So for me, that said, hang on a minute, how can everything else get shut down? Banks get shut down to some degree, but they were still running, to be fair. Certain institutions can still run even during the war, and I was like, that shows you how the priesthood are controlling, running the planet. So obviously, then they need us. We don't need them. So the biggest thing I was thinking was like, well, why? First of all, was the date that he put the ecclesiastical referendum on, and that's on June the 23rd. And I found that interesting because that's just 2 days after the summer solstice. So I was thinking, well, the sun's at its highest point. We're in a year of a 9, and we're in a year of great change. So the magic behind this stuff is what people don't realise. It's the metaphysics behind it that's fascinating. That they put this stuff at on the summer solstice, deliberately done just a couple of days afterwards. I was like, well, that's not an incident or coincidence. He could have had it any other time during the year. Why has he done it then in a year of a 9? So first of all, you've got the 23rd, which is a 5. You're in the month is a 6, that's 11. And then you're in 9, that's 9/11. I was just like, so the math added up straight away. I was like, really? It's like, really? So I thought, well, it's definitely an illusion they're pulling over. But the biggest thing for that is the fact that it's a contract. They need everybody to keep contracting. That's the best thing I want to advise to anybody is do not vote. Malcolm X said it best. If it doesn't work for you, leave it alone. And I'm going to be leaving it alone. I'm not going to get involved in it. I'm not going to engage in it. If I get a day off work or whatever's going on, I just will do my own thing. I will not engage in it at all. But the whole thing is a total illusion. But what they want is everybody to contract, and they want your consent. That is the one thing I will be very clear that anybody who's on this show, you need to think about that contract. Because any contract that you sign to, they're going to force a falsehood on you, whether you vote not to do it or whether you vote to do it. My point is, regardless, they need your consent and they want you to contract. The best thing you can do is not contract. That would be the best thing to do, because any changes that are coming in would not apply to you anyway. And to be honest with you, the changes don't even apply to you anyway, even in the first place, because it's not even about the people he's done it for. And that's what I'm going to just get into. Now, I just want to read a part of this document I've got, and it's the official EU stuff. And I'm just going to read a part of the document, and then I'm going to break it down in my own way. So it says, so I'm just going to read it. This is the official document. Now, it just says here, Britain and other Euros received guarantees that they would not lose out financially, but the episode reinforced British fears of the Euro Caucasus. It's also with the Danes and Swedes. However, most non-EU countries are less worried than the British about their relationship between the ins and the outs. This is because they think that in the long run they may join the Euro, and because they do not have a city of London to fret about. That's the Jesuit order. Now, some of the most senior German officials have little sympathy for the British position. They think that the UK's real game is to win a veto for the City of London on financial regulation. I'm going to just stop there. So, first things first, the City of London is nothing to do with the people of this country. Why is he even bothering the City of London when it's not supposed to be anything to do with this country? But I'll get into that in a second. And what I want to talk about is the main elements of the so-called things that there was Cameron's, this so-called ecclesiastical black magic contract that is agreed to, and the certain principles that is agreed to doing through the actual contract itself that is agreed. Now, I'm just going to talk about this. So, the first one that he wanted was making the EU more competitive. Everyone will agree on extending a single market into new areas and on the need for better regulation. That's nothing to do with us. If it's better regulation in a single market, that's all to do with nationalities, that's all to do with nations, that's all to do with government. Nothing to mention about the people there. Right, let's look at the second one. Curbs on benefits for EU migrants, reforms to Britain's own welfare system to make it harder for EU migrants to claim out-of-work benefits. The rules of payments of migrants' children living abroad may be changed, but Cameron will struggle to curb migrants' right to working benefits like tax credits. So that's not really to the people, because people are classed as corporations, so they're going to break that down later on. So that doesn't apply to us. A bigger role for national parliaments, nothing to do with the people. The Commission will find it harder to push ahead with the draft laws of national parliaments to object. So that's more about government and how the government's controlled by all the national banks and all the top foolish people. Nothing to do with us again. Number 4, changes to treaties, commitment to ever closer union. Words will be found that will allow Cameron to claim the EU's multi-currency union. And the last one is safeguards for wider EU against the risk of Eurozone caucusing. The UK may secure the promise of new treaty article after great transpire of the Eurogroup meetings. Again, nothing to do with the people. So he went there saying he was going on behalf of the people, but it only talks about parliaments. It only talks about City of London safeguards. It only talks about countries doing business with countries. It only talks about the Eurozone and economy. Nothing to do with us. They want us to vote and sign a contract. There's nothing to do with us. The only one EU migrants is not us. If you're already in this country, you cannot be an EU migrant. So what in any of that he signed has anything to do with the British people? Nothing. He's getting powers for Parliament. He's getting powers for City of London. He's wanting to curb EU's benefits, which not apply to the British people anyway. And the other one I mentioned, and economic stuff. That's to do with nations. Nothing to do with the people. So why is he getting everybody to vote when it's nothing to do with the people? It's only securing rights for the big corporations, his big crony friends, and to look good. So for me, my biggest thing is I smell a rat. I smell a disgusting rat in the house. Straight disgusting rat. Nothing to do with us at all whatsoever. Yet we've got to vote on stuff for City of London. We've got to vote on stuff for safeguarding the economic safeguarding of the EU when it's Cameron's supposed to be doing it for nothing to do with it at home. It says the EU doesn't say anything about Britain. So for me, it's just like, well, and safeguards for the EU's not bailing out the banks and stuff like that, for not bailing out the EU's banks. I mean, the whole thing, it just totally stinks. Nothing to do with the people at all whatsoever. It's all to do with all it's to do is saving the City of London, which is run by the Jesuit order, the Roman cult, and the Bank of Despair, which I've been to in London, I've visited. It's also to do with safeguarding the economic interests of the central bank in London, which is the private bank run by the Pope, the priesthood anyway, which is the Bank of England. So he's protecting that. He's protecting he's claiming to protect the big corporations in the UK Kingdom, which all benefit from the banking system. So it's all really to do with the big banks, to do with the big corporations, and to keep its chums happy. But yet he wants everybody to vote for it. I smell a rat. I smell a total rat. My thing is not to contract. The best thing you can do is not even to contract, not even to vote, because where does any of that apply to the people in the country? It applies to EU workers. It applies to the British Parliament, securing more letters for the more powers for the Parliament. Nothing to do with us. Because when they get in there, they only come once every 5 years. They promise everything under the what's it called? When they call it a promise, what do they call it when they call it a promise? When they
A
give
manifesto.
promise to people? That's it. The manifesto. I just forgot Kim. A man infesting the earth. A man infest. A manifesto. And the council, when they get in there, they break all the manifesto promises and pledges anyway, and then they still use all the powers for the cronies and the big bankers and all their elite friends anyway. So it just stinks. It totally stinks, and I don't know why everybody's getting involved. And then the worst thing about it is you've got like people like Idiot Fool, Boris Johnson, Carney, and all these other muppet politicians putting themselves on different sides, and it's the same beast. Because the priesthood run the city of London, and they're only interested in saving the city of London. That's all they're bothered about. The priesthood only need to keep their self safe and that Bank of the Spirit off. But the thing is, the EU, keep in mind, the EU is still run by the Jesuits order anyway. So the priesthood can win on both sides. So for me, I realise when I think about the EU's the new Holy Roman cult. You've got the City of London that's owned by the Jesuit Roman cult. And I'm thinking, nothing to do with the people anyway. So what is it that they need us to do, that they fasten it all over the television program and everybody with this connotative linguistics? And the only thing I kept seeing was the numerology dates came out on 9/11. I'm thinking big ritual date, because of the math that added up, and I thought, and they need everybody to vote. That's a contract. So the best thing you can do to shut the beast down is not even to contract with it and engage. And I'll stop there. But that's my take on it.
Yeah, well, I smelled a rat as soon as I heard this. Well, firstly, in the election manifesto was a pledge for an in or out referendum, which I thought, yeah, they'll get elected and then it won't happen. But secondly, the big thing that kind of sounded alarm bells with me was the kind of implications from the Lisbon Treaty, 1st of November 2014, wasn't it? When in effect Cameron and the Toad Queens signed away the sovereignty of Britain to the EU, didn't they?
Well, to be honest with you, it's the Pope, the Jesuit order and the Roman cult have actually run this country since 1213 for the Secret Treaty of Verona anyway. You don't even have any, the original kingdoms to this titles to the kingdoms to this land are with the Pope anyway. Let's just be blunt about the issue. There's no common law in this country. Long gone, long time ago. It's all ecclesiastical, and the whole thing's been run by the Roman cult anyway. So they're making it out like the Queen had sovereignty. The Queen's never been sovereign since 1213. That's why the Magna Carta came about, because the barons realised that King John had sold them down the line. They kicked a major stink and said, hang on a minute, you sold us all out, and the barons kicked a major stink. That's why we got Magna Carta. And we never had Magna Carta anyway, because the Pope dissolved it anyway, and he ignored it. And we still got Roman courts, municipal Roman temples to this day, still running around called magistrates and other ecclesiastical black priests, all running on the bench, running the system anyway. So I'm only going to deal with the inner temple and the fact that people got blood oaths, and they're all taking blood oaths to the Pope under the Grim Reaper doctrine. Let's just be blunt about it. So the Queen never signed anything away because she never had anything to sign anyway. What they made it look like, Andy, they made it look as though the Queen signed away the sovereignty. Well, to be honest with you, she's at the Dame Hospital for the Knights of Malta, and she got a blood oath to the Pope anyway. So for me, I'm like, people are just like, people don't know the truth. People need to wake up. So my big thing, she's got a blood oath to somebody else. She curtsies at the front of London when she comes in, and she bows down to the bear because he's got a blood oath to the Pope. She shows a subordination. I can prove it anyway, and that's not an issue. So I'm like, the Queen's never been on the throne anyway. She gave a fake oath in 52 when she took the oath anyway. So like, for me, I'm just like, well, the guy, what they're doing is that it's a whole dog and pony show, like you said earlier on. They're behaving as though the Queen's sovereign, and she's not. Never has been. And basically, they're making out that the EU is taken over, but the EU is the Holy Roman Empire, and the Jesuits are going to win regardless. Because if that's why he wants the protections for the City of London. He don't care about the people in this country. Why do you think he's going to beat over the City of London? What's that got to do with the people? Nothing in there was to do with the people in this country. There was powers for Parliament. There were powers for something to do with EU migrants. There was powers for the City of London. Powers for the economic side and the government, how it's interact with the European Union. Nothing to do with us in there, but yet they want us to vote for it. So the Lisbon Treaty, you're absolutely spot on with it, Andy. I totally agree with you. But for me, the Treaty of Verona 1213, means that the Queen didn't sign anything over anyway. She's just agreed another contract. So it'll be interesting to see what, as a result of that black magic contract that was signed, what kind of ecclesiastical black magic measures are they going to force on the people anyway. That's what I look more on it about. It's like, well, that the whole farce about the Queen signing it, she's not sovereign, this country's not sovereign anyway. I've known that for a long time. So the issue would be, what, as a result of that Lisbon Treaty, Andy, are they going to try and ram down our throats? That's what I get interested in, because that's what we're going to have to deal with. What are they going to try and ram down their throats? And obviously, as you've just said, this whole Dog and Pony show is coming up on the 23rd, and they're ramming foolishness down the people's throats. But that's because they need us. We don't need them. They need to contract. Why do they keep needing to contract us? Let's put it this way, Andy. If they're bulldozing all this, and say the Queen was sovereign, Andy, say she was sovereign, even though no, she's not, because she's a damn hospital of Knights of Malta. Even if she was sovereign, right? Even if she was, right? She still agreed to sign the contract and still agreed to do all this foolishness with them. Where was the people consulted on any of that?
No, they weren't, were they?
Thank you. So again, what's it got to do with the people? But yet they want to ram a contract to a referendum down their throats.
So take it you won't vote in then, Del?
Well, what's it got to do with us based on the facts?
I completely agree with you. It's got absolutely nothing to do with us whatsoever.
So why are we voting for it then?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I was just being a little bit flippant.
No, I agree with you. That's what I'm saying. So why is it? And that's my point. They need us to contract in order for that EU contract, Andy, to then become forced upon us. This is the illusion that people don't want to deal with. It's always politics. It's politics every single time. So what they're doing, Andy, is they're forcing contracts on us through that EU principle. So they're forcing us onto another jurisdiction and they're wanting us to agree to it. So for me, Andy, I'm more seeing it on the point of they're trying to force something onto us that we actually don't need. And I think the Queen's never been sovereign. So theoretically, the Queen's never been sovereign anyway. And basically, she's just signed another contract where she's just sold us, or sold the so-called people, more down the line. And she didn't consult us anyway. So unless we agree to the contract, it can't apply to us. And that's why I think, Andy, he wants us to go for this referendum, because he wants us to either not contract or to contract. And if you notice, Andy, they always offer us an option. You know, it's either in or out. Have you always noticed? But if you contract in, you've accepted the contract. If you contract out, you've accepted the contract. You see where I'm going with this? Either way, you've accepted the contract. So the best thing to do is not to contract, period, and shut the beast down. That's how my take on it, if I'm being honest with you, Andy.
I get you, Del.
I did hear David Cameron say that that the whatever the result, that would be it. There would be no more referendums. So from that, I can only surmise that it's going to go the way that he wants it to go.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I like Andy's take on he mentioned on the Queen behaving as though she's sovereign. She's running around behaving like she's sovereign, but she's got a blood oath for the Dame Hospitaller. She's a Dame Hospitaller for the Knights of Malta, and she's part of their secret societies, but never reveals that. And I've got Knights of Malta gear anyway. I've got photographic evidence of it. Funny thing is, now sticking with what you were just Andy was just on about, it's interesting with the contractual side of this, what they're going to do. And if they already know what's going to happen, in regards to what you were saying, Jason, that means that all they want is for us to either not contract, in terms of saying, for either to contract to say yes or contract to say no. And either way, I think the priesthood are going to win either side, because he's protecting the city of London, which the priesthood need protecting. And if he joins the EU, the Jesuits are running the EU anyway, which I've sent Andy a document about that. Van Rompuy and all those all alumni trained anyway. So, but my point is, if you contract in terms of agreeing to it, and if you contract in terms of not agreeing to it, they've still got your consent. And I think that's where the trickery is. I think that's what they're after, if I'm being honest with you. So I think what you just said, Jason, he already knows the outcome. But the issue is how many people contract to say yes, or how many people contract to say no. it's those that don't contract, they're still going to have the real power because they've not agreed to any of the false illusion anyway.
Yeah, it certainly is a false illusion as well. It gives everybody an illusion that they have got a choice in this matter when really we know, like you've just said, we either contract in or we contract out. It doesn't really matter what the end result is. The things that are going to be protected are still the same.
Yes, and that's my point. The beast is still running. That's what I said earlier. The beast is still running. So my big thing is the best thing you can do is not to contract. Because then any obligation you don't have. Contract law, there cannot be obligation without a contract. So if you don't contract and you leave it alone, they can't force anything on you because it doesn't apply because you never agreed to it. So my big thing is not to contract. That's how my take on it. I said speaking to Andy earlier on, I think yesterday we mentioned it, is just the fact that the whole thing is a charade. And a lot of people are running around after charade and they can't see it. And Andy said, he's not been really paying too much attention to it. And I'm going to agree with Andy. I haven't paid too much attention to it. But what I did do was I did the math when the deal happened. I did the math for when the deal came about. And it was on the summer solstice. And I read up on the contracts to see if it's had anything to do with the people. So I've done a little bit of due diligence. But like I agree with Andy, I don't want to give it too much energy because it's a false illusion. So my big thing is if I'm going to give it energy, I'm going to give it energy in terms of telling people not to contract. Because that's the best way to safeguard yourself.
And so, do you mean by not contracting, by not voting, not being involved at all in any thing? Yeah.
If they send you ballot papers through the door, return to sender address not recognised. Don't contract. That's more powerful because then you keep your own sovereignty. If he's got no contract, there's no obligation. It's all ecclesiastical magic. So therefore, if you don't participate in the illusion, it can't apply to you. No contract, no obligation. Cease and desist. So my big thing is 45-degree angle, return to sender address not recognised. I'm not trustee. I'm not going to stand as surety. I'm not going to be a trustee. I'm not agreeing to contracts. Whether it's to vote for a contract or vote not to a contract, I'm not agreeing with it, period. So therefore, none of the ecclesiastical black magic, Roman cult, illusions of European Union, which is all run by the same club, will apply to me anyway. The whole thing is a falsehood and illusion, full stop.
Mm. Well, I know when you're on with us, Dale, we do get some questions that we never ever get with other guests, and it certainly happened again tonight. And one of the questions is from Ken, and Ken says, "Can I nick some of Dale's words for lyrics from a next song?"
That's fascinating. I never saw that one coming.
No, and he also says that Jason sounds better as a Dalek.
Thank you, Ken.
No, well, yeah, he can do as he pleases. He can do as he pleases. I have no problem. I'm in honour. So the words, the energy behind the words and what it means is important, and that's the programming side of it that nobody realises, and that's that fast that Andy was speaking about earlier on, the fast on the Telelive Vision program. Everybody vote, referendum, vote. You've got everybody screaming around, running around, politicians screaming from the rooftop, vote, not vote. The key thing is they've got everybody's energy just put on it under a fake distraction, and I agree with Andy. My big thing is if I'm going to put energy into it, my energy will be return to sender, address not recognised, that's it, and just don't contract. That'll be my big thing I'm going to put my energies into, because that will cut the beast at the door and will stop it from invading on your own sovereignty as a living, breathing, sentient soul that you are. That's part of the universe. You don't need to be contracting with the beast and the dark Roman Jesuit ecclesiastical black magic cult running around offering contracts, claiming to be legitimate authorities when they're not. And actually, everything they do is to rob everybody's birthright and put everybody into darkness. And that's because they want everybody to be good slaves, paying grim reaper doctrine tax so they can keep themselves going when the whole thing is a falsehood anyway. Just don't contract with them and cease and desist it. Return to sender. Don't even engage with it. That's the best thing you can do. 45-degree angle in blue writing. Smash it over the head, send it back.
Excellent, Dale.
Yeah, I've got to agree with that. The less contact you have with anybody, just don't have any contact with anybody that you don't want to. Like you say, they're illegitimate. All completely illegitimate.
Yep. Since 1213. treat everyone 12, 13. There's no common law in this country. It's been long gone. We're operating ecclesiastical black magic double stock trusts, and everybody's cleared dead beyond the seas after 7. The priesthood have been lying to everybody. You're going into court bearing false witness under penance. The whole thing is an illusion. They're claiming your mind, body, spirit, and soul through convocation. The whole thing is a fraud. Total and utter illusion. And everybody. And the big thing is, the key thing is, and I've been saying this from day one, when I begin to realize the falsehood, is they need us. We don't need them. And this is why they keep coming and putting tele-live vision and connotative linguistics and programming in your face and say vote, not vote, or something's going on today, get involved with this, get involved with that. Everything is an illusion and total distraction, and people need to turn off and turn away from the beast.
Mm-hmm. That brings me to something we discussed a couple of weeks ago when we had Claire Kennedy on with us and Dave Witcher, and they've started this group on Facebook called Surrender the Sovereignty, in which they're setting up their own trusts, and then they're getting their birth certificate notarized. And I'm not quite sure how it works, but you have talked to me about something similar. I mean, have you looked at what they're doing? And if so, how do you see it, Del? Do you see it being able to move forward?
Interesting. The thing is, as I said, we'll probably dive in on it at some point, when obviously, because I know at some point we'll have a break and we'll pull up some trust stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's right, because essentially, what you're not supposed to do is transfer title ownership. Now, you heard me at this talk that I had recently. You actually heard me. You're not supposed to transfer title ownership.
Yep.
Genesis chapter 24, Jacob and Esau said in the bondage of the birthright. Transfer of title ownership. What's happening is live record births being given over to the Jesuit Roman cult. That's why you're reading pounds and ounces. They pick the soles of your feet. They claim the soul through convocation. And rob your child of property, rob your child of being a being, and then anything, and make it into corporate dead fictions. And then they create ecclesiastical fiat today you call money, or I call it munai. And then what they're doing is they're trading bonds and stocks on the stock market, and everybody's been traded, and it's in bondage servitude, which is slavery, which is what Yeshua really taught about when he went to the temple. And it's the only time he ever got angry, because he kicked the money chasers out of the temple, meaning the Roman temple courts, because it's still going on today. He kicked them out because they were using usury, which is forbidden, which is going on to this day. And that's the real truth, because it creates slavery. People go wandering around after the beast, but nobody can tell them what the beast is, and that's the truth. So what I'm agreeing with what Dave's doing is because he's putting the ecclesiastical black magic Roman Jesuit cult on notice that is a real man, and that is not going to be a birth certificate, legal, non de guerre, civil martouche, ens legis. I mean, I could be all day on legal fiction, fraudulent entities, chattel property, standing assurance. I mean, we could be here all their contracts, all falsehoods, all Jesuit magic, black magic, all penance, all the foolishness that we don't even need anyways. Dave's throwing it all in the bin. He's telling Caesar where to go, and and like Yeshua said, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's. And that's essentially what Dave is doing without me saying it, but that's what he's doing. He's rendering unto Caesar what is Caesar's, and he's rendering unto him what is his, and therefore he's keeping him in his right mind as a living man, and therefore the Pope can't come and claim anything over him, because he's put them all on notice. So I'm agreeing with him, because anybody who's going to take a stand and be proactive, remain in honour, and not stand as surety, ens legis, civil martouche, non de guerre, priest throwing black magic and spells, classing everybody as child property under the 1660 double stock trust, all falsehoods and illusions, all adhesion contracts. Dave's saying to him, you can have as many adhesion contracts as you want, but we have, and like I've said it at that talk, we have the highest claim, we have dominion, and therefore we can rescind any contracts and put ourselves into honour. And therefore, once that's done, we're not bearing false witness, so penance can't apply, the priest can't move, they can't move on you. So the issue is, the biggest thing the priests have got is the illusion itself, and they're shattering that illusion like I've done, like many people have done, just shattering the illusion, and therefore the whole thing falls down anyway, and they can't do anything anyway. So yes, I'm agreeing with him in principle, because he's remaining on him, he's honouring himself, and he's bringing out the truth, and I will be supporting him 100%.
Thanks, Dale. I suppose that brings us round to another subject, and we've got kind of 10 minutes before the hour, so I thought we'd perhaps just broach on that before the break. Yeah. And you and I are going to be meeting up next time at Leeds on March the 26th, and it's the Real Change Leeds meet-up, and it'll be at the Trinity nightclub in Pudsey. For anyone who wants to attend, there is a link to that on our event schedule on March the 26th there. And
bring your thermals.
Oh, yes, bring your thermals and your woolly socks and a woolly hat and gloves and what have you, because it might not be very warm in there. It wasn't last time, unless we have a late March heat wave. We've got some good speakers. Well, apart from me, there's some really good speakers lined up there, isn't there? There's yourself. Who else have we got? Manly P. Hall. And I've forgotten who else is speaking there. Chris Jones was due to speak from Beat the Bailiffs and the Banks, but I spoke with Chris today and he might not be able to make it. But I understand possibly Paul Webster's going there as well. So, and there's another guy who is a Gulf War veteran. I can't remember his name, but I will get it. Yeah, quite a good lineup. And as I've said last time we went, the energy at the last meetup with 350-400 people there was absolutely incredible, wasn't it, Dale?
Yeah, it was a good day. Having Dave Witcher up there, Chrissy Morris. We had Toddy. We had obviously oneself was up there as well. It was interesting. We had Ceylon went. There's quite a few people there. What's his the guy with the house? What's his name?
Tom Crawford.
That's it. Yeah, Tom Crawford spoke as well. So there was quite a large, and obviously Gordon Bowden was there as well. There was quite a large panel there that was speaking. A lot of information got explained and dished out really well. It was interesting. Obviously Russell Burton, obviously Jay himself as well, put the event together, bringing people with a similar mindset together. They had dispatches there from Channel 4, which I found fascinatingly interesting. As you know, I don't do mainstream very well, but they were there nevertheless anyway, which means the so-called powers that were, because they're not powers that be, because they're certainly not got no power, because it's all an illusion anyway, once you know what's going on, was certainly getting their ears down to the ground and sending in the COINTELPRO operatives to monitor what's going on with the people on the ground, because obviously the black magic ecclesiastical Roman cult programming is not working. The content of linguistics is not working on so many people, and they know this. And so the energy in there was fantastic. The people there were fantastic. There was a lot of information that was given out. It was amazing. Lots of people had lots of points to make. There was a lot of areas that were brought up and solutions put in place. And just a general day of having people together with a similar mindset, where people could open up and open out and could talk about whatever they wanted, and they didn't have to be ridiculed by anybody else, and there wasn't anybody else being awkward or funny, and people in a negative way. Everybody was just getting on with everybody else. Everybody else was meeting people. There was lots of networking going on, and like I said, a lot of people wanted people to speak at other talks, and Jay wants to take it a bit further away from Leeds and stuff. So when you look at it on the broader perspective, it means that a lot of people are willing to start to make a change and make a difference, and it was good to see that amount there. There was a lot of support for everybody who was on the panel, and it was good to see a lot of people there from all over the country. I mean, we had people from all over, and that's what I found most interesting. People travelled from really far, from obviously Dave Richards in Kent, but people travelled from Newcastle, Scotland, Bristol, Wales. I mean, all over the place. It was fantastic that people have made that commitment to get across and get themselves involved and be a part of it. And that's what I realised, that people are really coming together and they showed that they honoured that unity principle and sort of supporting each other. So yeah, it was absolutely brilliant. I loved the day. It was fantastic. Brilliant people, great attitude. And like I said, Jay's going to start moving that forward and taking it further.
Yeah, I just looked, and Martin Todd is the name of the ex-Gulf War guy who's going to be speaking this time, so I look forward to speaking with him.
Yeah, That'd be pretty good. Yeah, I was just saying, yeah, that'd be pretty good with getting the people there. And what's interesting is that Jay's tried to have different people on the panels. He's tried to have different people on the panels, getting different perspectives in place. So I think that's good, and I respect him for that. That he wants other people doing different things and adding a different outset and a different mind frame and bringing in their expertise and sharing that with everybody else to make everybody else benefit and honor the unit principle. So yeah, I'm agreeing with you, and I'm glad he's got a different range of people on the panel this time.
Well, you were saying about people travelling from distance. I did speak to a couple of ladies outside who'd come up from Bath and Bristol. But Ken points out that he actually travelled from Spain via Newcastle, so he probably won the prize for the furthest travel there, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, certainly did, and I'm glad I got to meet him and have a good chat with him and have a good old laugh. And it was nice because people got to just share that time with each other individually after the event as well as before the event, which was really good. It was very well organised by Jay, I have to say, and a lot of people got involved. And again, I think this will be very similar turnout we really want, and getting more people again involved. But there was a lot of solutions suggested and put forward as well, and that's what I liked about what Jay was trying to do, was talking about solutions in place as well as being able to bring the problems out and be able to talk about and get the problems out there, but also providing solutions in place as well as bringing the issues that people had concerns about and how to deal with it and passing on relevant information and supporting people. I mean, I have been doing the last couple of weeks since the talk. I've been been supporting people dealing with bailiffs, been supporting people dealing with council tax, supporting with people dealing with police, which are pseudo public servants. I refer to myself as what I'm going to call because that's what they are. There's all sorts of different things I've been doing, helping people since I did the talk and speaking to people as well and supporting them and helping them. So yeah, it's been quite hard because I've been quite flat out, as I told you the other day. But it's certainly been worth it, and people have appreciated it. So yeah, it's moving forward, it's gaining momentum, and the energy's right.
I see they're rolling out the real change concepts throughout the country now. I've seen other real change groups starting to pop up on social media there, so that's an encouraging thing as well. Yeah,
and that's what Jay's done well with. Now, what be interesting is to see when they do pop up, how we're going to get more people to different talks and who's going to be doing those talks and how they can be organised so we can get the right people, giving the right people the right information and giving the people the right support. So the organising will be absolutely critical when it comes to information gathering, as well as people giving out information, as well as the talks that come with it, so they can support people in and around those areas. So yeah, I'm glad he's got that up and running, that side of it, and obviously the follow through will be having more events similar to what we've already been to, but obviously in different places around the country.
Mm-hmm. I even heard Claire Kennedy mention that she's moving up to Yorkshire anytime soon. And she was saying she's going to organise a kind of weekend meet-up where people can come, stay the weekend, rather than meeting up and worried about having a drink or a smoke or whatever and having to drive home. They can stay the weekend and you can actually socialise with people and build a bit more of a bond than you do over maybe 5 or 6 hours that is really limited because you want to speak to so many people.
Yeah, and I get, and it's people. It's those ideas, isn't it? It's like she's doing that, and she's thinking of, well, people had to travel far. Some people may have wanted to stay. Some people did stay in hotels overnight because they were telling me. Some people may have wanted to stay and get to know people and get more chance to speak with people individually. I mean, I know afterwards when Jay finished, I was speaking for ages, talking to people. People took my number and stuff like that. So it would be a good idea if Claire did do that. I certainly support that. It would be a good idea. And then obviously people can spend a bit more time and have more questions answered and have more solutions put in place. Because like you said, Andy, as good as Jason organises things, the time goes so quickly, there's so much points to get brought up, that some people, probably still wanted the questions answering that they didn't get a chance to have answered. So it gives that people that scope to speak to people more on an individual basis and about their circumstances and how they can get support there.
Yeah, everyone I've spoken to who went to that said, "Oh, it was great to meet Chrissy Morris, but I only got a few words with him because he was so busy." I mean, it was like he was some kind of rock star when he was there. Chrissy, people were just crowded around him all the time, weren't they?
Yeah, I mean, he's done some. Him and Dave, I have to say, have done some fabulous work. We beat the bailiffs. I mean, everybody's fighting the beast, and everybody's got the way of fighting the beast. And everybody's doing their bit. That's why I respect what Dave's doing, what Chris is doing, what a lot of people are doing. To try and make a difference. To say no, we're not going to just take this line down. You're not just going to keep offering us a contract and then saying that we've got a contract because you're enforceable on us when we've not signed enough and not agreed to anything. So a lot of people are standing up and saying no to this falsehood illusion, and they're making a difference. And Dave's been very public about. Obviously, I'm not as public as him because I don't mix public and private. I try to avoid mixing public and private where I can. But Dave's been very public with it, and so has Chrissy, and they've been very vocal. People like Wesley Ahmed, there's loads of them that have been very vocal. Rob Freeman have been very vocal about this and exposing a lot of the truth and making sure that that they can help other people, and that really makes a real change. So I respect the work that they're all doing. And so although they were swamped, they were swamped for all the positive and good reasons, because everybody's got different ways and strategies and getting around things and solutions that Chrissy and Dave and myself and Rob Freeman and others have been using to deal with pseudo public servants and get them out of the way. So everybody's been taking the fight to them, not in a negative way. Everyone's been taking the truth to them, not in the fight. Everyone's been taking the truth to them and running the pseudo servants out of town, because we don't want your services because you're not honourable in your conduct. They've got bad faith and unclean hands, and people are seeing the fraudulent position they're in. They're just running around like gangsters, and we're just saying, we're turning around saying, no, you're not doing that. We're not putting up with that, and you're not doing that. So, yeah, fair play to everybody who's been involved and supporting everybody else and putting solutions in place.
Okay, thanks for that, Dale. I suppose it's just gone 9 o'clock now. Good time to have a music break?
West
yeah,
Side.
That's fine.
Okay, let's go with a couple of reggae tracks tonight, I think, and we'll be back with you in a few minutes, folks.
me one dance. Give me one dance. One dance, baby. Give me one dance. Give me one dance. State to state seesaw on the brink of destruction. While big money rule, fixing their election. Still with the abundance of food, we're facing starvation. Oh, polluting all this earth, stirring confrontation. So do it well. Give the dragon hell. And for me, save me. One dance. Give me one dance. One dance, my life. Give me one dance. Give me one dance. Oh. Dun 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 so all of you classes, races and nations, the riches of this earth is just an illusion. Everywhere you go, you see a revolution. Revolution, yes. War is being waged, no solution. So do it well. Give the dragon hell. And please for me, save me. One dance. Give me one dance. One dance, my Lord. Give me one dance. Give me one dance. Oh. Dun 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 Everybody sees you, feeling all you are, hoping that you are counting your blessings. People on the street, hating what they see. Hope is running thin, no one true belief. That's the sign of a intifada. This is the sign of a intifada. You can see the sign of a intifada. It's the sign of a intifada. Everybody dies, nothing ever lasts. Fearing everyone, no one truly lies. on the street, cursing all of them. Hope is running thin, no one through the That is the sign of a intifada. It's the sign of a intifada. You can see the sign of a intifada. It's the sign of a intifada. What about the next generation? I'm calling out to our Semitic nation. Think about the next generation. Hungry, no education, no way, free election. Them are hungry, no education, no way, free election. For them gone, them are 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 gone, gone, them are gone, them are gone, them are gone.
Hi folks, and welcome back to Raconteurs News. I hope you're all nicely chilled out, brewed up, rolled up, whatever you need to do. I don't know about you, but I feel so chilled out. I'm almost horizontal there. And that was some great tunes there from Harrison Stafford, and many thanks to Tony for pointing me in the direction of those.
Yeah, great tunes, great chill out tunes, sort of thing that you'll be listening to laid out in Lost in Amsterdam.
Oh, yeah, it's a long time since I've been to Amsterdam.
Yeah.
I was a non-smoker then, so I didn't get to sample the full benefits.
So you went to Amsterdam for no reason then?
Well, no. I went to Amsterdam because I was there. I was staying in a little village just outside Amsterdam, and I thought, well, I can't really stay here and not go to Amsterdam, so I did. I had a look in a few shop windows down the Canal Street. There's quite some sights to see there.
Yeah, I went a couple of times. Me and my mate Heath went a couple of times, and we had one or two good laid down. There's a place called a cafe called Lost in Amsterdam, and it's got a downstairs bit where they just play reggae music just like that. Oh. And you sit and you smoke and you know, and the young ladies in Amsterdam are just generally everybody, all the young ladies, just what a beautiful place. Yeah. Anyway, I think we best move on.
Yeah, well, just for anybody who hasn't seen it on social media, we've got a big coup coming up, and we've got Rick Simpson coming back with us on the 18th of this month. And really looking forward to that. And some interesting developments there with Rick. We'll be able to tell you more on that show. And it's just blown me away what's been happening this weekend. Tina's took over the booking of the guests. Although, you know, we're all booking guests here and there. But Tina's kind of took a bit of weight off my shoulder. And she's just got some fabulous results. A couple of days ago, she contacted Ken O'Keefe, not really knowing whether we get an answer because he's a bit of a celebrity, our Ken, and he was back within the hour, and he was aloha, yet let's make this happen. So Yesterday, she contacted John Rappaport, the well-known blogger and journalist. He's been looking into this stuff for 30-odd years, Pulitzer Prize nominee, and he got back to us within a quarter of an hour, and he was really keen to do it. So I'm looking forward to speaking to John. We've also got, just confirmed today, Dr. Sarah Myhill. I really wasn't hoping too much to get her because she seems to be very busy from her website and not taking on any more patients, and so it's a real coup. I'm really looking forward to the interviews we've got lined up. We seem to be going from strength to strength. We've got Leon with us. There's possibilities of other hosts wanting to come on board with us, so just watch this space.
Yes, yeah, it is. It's really exciting. I'm looking forward to some of those guests as well. And it sounds like we might have to try and slip another show in at some point in the week.
Well, it's looking that way, yeah. But now we're on Spreaker, we can go out anytime we want to. So if we've got guests that we can't fit into a regular schedule, we can just post a few messages around, let everyone know, email the members of the site and let them know if we've got an extra one, and just go live. So anyway, we've got a guest with us. We mustn't leave him out of it. Hey there, Del.
Yeah, it's just take your time. Obviously, you're bringing your points that need to be brought to the audience. I'm totally fine with that. It's been fine so far. So yeah, you just finish off. I said to you yesterday, and I'll just say this, put it forward on the record. You've been brave. You've taken a risk. You've left people's internet radio. You set up your own thing, and you're going. For me, you know what it is, Andy? It's a law of correspondence, and because what you're doing, the way you want to do it, and you're putting the truth out there, the truth hasn't been honoured, and so therefore you might get people who are very well known and might never heard of you before, but because your energy behind what you're saying is right, and they feel that energy, they're getting back to you straight away because you're being sincere. People know when somebody's genuine and somebody's not, and they can kind of see it. It's inside of yourself. You confirm your own truth. So if the way you're dealing with people and you're messaging people, the way you're corresponding with people, they're more than happy to adjust the schedule to get on with you, because the way you're dealing with people. So just keep the energy and that energy right, and people will still keep coming on board. As soon as you told me, just straight away I was like, yeah, not a problem. I'll do my bit to get, help out and get get the shows up and get the audiences up and stuff like that, because I've done quite a few shows on your people's internet radio, so they've gone down well. So I said I was more than happy to come on and help you out and do my little bit, and I won't let you down. If I'm going to come on, I'll say I'll do it, and if I can do it, I'll do it. So for me, I'm just glad that you're getting out there. You're taking a risk. You're getting out there. People are interested. You've got good support from your listeners. You've got a solid base, and yeah, just keep going. And I like the fact that it's going organically. It's just going from strength to strength. So it's a good thing, Andy. So just I've found on the record. But yeah, keep it going strong ways, and your energy's right, and you're just putting the truth out there. For everybody that's lying, at least there's some shining beacons of truth out there, and that will always destroy the lies anyway.
Thanks for that, Dale. Well, I must point out, it's not just me, and it's not just Jason. There's quite a team of us here. There's Tina, my other half. She's always working away in the background. We've got various people who contribute. I mean, Tony Hurst, we couldn't have done it without him. Tony's been fabulous. He's built the website for us.
Absolutely.
If you want to check out Tony's work, there's a little link at the bottom of the page there. Website by Organic Web Design. And he builds some incredible websites. And there's other people in the background too, isn't there? There's the little Fraggle over in Manchester. He's not in the best of health at the minute, but I know he'll be back and helping out as soon as he gets fit again. We've got Sarah Goodley. Sarah's got some family issues she needs to sort out, but we went over to see Sarah last week, and she'll be back on board. So, yeah, it's a team effort. It's not just us two, is it?
And speaking of people that are a little bit under the weather and not at best of health, I'd like to send my best wishes to Lou Collins, who's in hospital at the moment. I don't actually know what's wrong with her. I've just been noticing from her Facebook page that she's in hospital at the moment. She's been in for a few days. It looks like she's going to be in for a few more. So get well soon, Lou.
Yeah, I did see she looked like she got some kind of diverticulitis problem, which is pretty nasty. So, yeah, get well soon, Louise.
Yeah, nasty and difficult to say. So, Del, what I wanted to mention about the Leeds event, the previous one that I attended with Andy and Ken and Tina and everybody, was that it was. What I was pleased about is there were people from different areas. So there were people that were campaigning in different areas. You know, you got Tom Crawford, who was there. You know, he's primarily known for his fights with the bank and stuff like that. And then you got some child abuse people there as well that were campaigning on behalf of child abuse. And so there was all sorts of different people with all sorts of different causes, and they were all coming together and sharing information and giving each other support, which I found quite uplifting.
Yeah, and that's just what Jay wanted. He had everybody. I mean, like I said, I don't sit in one particular area because the beast is thick, and therefore you've got to have your hands in every single pot. As I said earlier on, and I always have my hands in every single pot because the beast has got his hands in every single pot. But what's interesting is Jay managed to play and bring everybody together so that everybody could get their issues raised and aired, as well as putting solutions in place. So that's what I liked about it. And everybody on the panel had a unique spin and take on the issues that were brought up, as well as providing solutions in place and sharing information to people from different angles and different perspectives of where they've had success and where they've had where they've been able to stop the so-called beast in its tracks. So that's what I agreed with, and I think that's what Jay was really trying to do with Russell. That was trying to put things in place where there were solutions in place, as well as dealing with the problems and having people having the confidence to speak about things, was also providing solutions in place and everybody come together and support everybody with those solutions as well.
Yeah, and there was a great energy in the room as well. When's the next event? The 26th, did you say?
Yeah.
Yes, it is the 26th. So I think Andy's got the date. And again, it'll be a different set of energies because, like Andy said, you've got different people speaking. Jay's got a different panel, like I said. He's got some same people, but he's also got different people there. So it will also have a different spin in it as well. And that's why I agree with what Jay's trying to do. Is he's trying to get a bit of everybody involved. You know, last time I had Gordon Browden there, he had some really big names there this last time as well. So, you know, this time he's got different people there, all known for what they do, and they're going to bring that side to it and that perspective to it as well. So it'll go down well. It always does, and Jay promotes the events really well. So people look forward to getting involved, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it worked very well, and I'm excited to be a part of the next one, and not a little bit honoured. I'm greatly honoured to be asked. It was the first time I've done any public speaking, and I'm a little bit nervous about it, but I'm really looking forward to it. It's a little different kettle of fish talking to however many people we talk to on the radio, to having those faces staring back at you, which I can imagine it'd be quite nerve-wracking. I noticed Claire was very nervous at the last one, but she did a grand job, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, some people, so everybody takes it a different way. I think for me, Andy, just go and do what you're just doing now. Just go and enjoy it. Like I said, I don't like mixing public and private, and every time I've gone up there, I just go up there and I just do what I need to do and smash it and get back off. Mm-hmm. And I think your attitude is probably key when you're up there. That you've got a way to link to people and project that energy correctly and reach people. And they've got, everybody had similar issues in there, and not being able to just talk about the problems, but put solutions in place. So the information was given out to people. Like I said, people giving out numbers, they're giving out leaflets. There's all sorts of networking going on. People helping each other. So that side of it is brilliant. And so when people are speaking, the only reason why they know like that, you said with Chrissy Morris, is because people could connect with what Chrissy was saying and saw how he was explaining the solutions, and people just need to get a firmer grasp of that, and that's why they were there. So it works. So again, in terms of you speaking, I think just being very clear and just going up and be yourself, and like you're doing now, just be yourself and just and be very clear about the issues that you're bringing and the solutions that you're putting in place and how that's done, and then just be able to explain that correctly and clearly, and you should be fine.
So, if there were one particular solution that you could put in place for any particular issue, what would that be? I mean, how would you start? How would you begin?
That's easy, and I talked about it earlier on. The problem is everybody keeps contracting. I keep telling everybody it's going to be as simple as it needs to be. The beast can only work because I deal with the fundamentals. We are living, breathing, sentient beings. We have dominion over ourselves. We have the highest claim on ourselves, and therefore, the beast keeps coming to us because he needs us. He offers us a contract. When we agree to it, we debase ourselves, we bear false witness, we commit penance and all sin and all the other foolishness I might talk about in a bit. And basically, once that's then done, the class you as child property, the wash it 10 years free and the prize ion, and keep you under an illusion. But then again, you agree to it yourself because you kept contracting. The biggest thing for me is claim dominion over yourself and stop contracting the beast. The same way he can't inhibit your right to contract, he cannot inhibit your right not to contract, and that shuts it down. So that's that in a nutshell, keeping it simple. You can get way more technical if we needed, but that's the simple thing that needs to be put in place. Just claim dominion over yourself, shut the beast down by not contracting. Keep it simple there. If we need to get technical shortly, then we can do. But that's the simplest solution, and that's the most honourable solution put in place. Yeah, you can get more technical later on, but that for me, it's something simple, up front, blatant, that you can do right now on the spot like I've just done. Smash them over the head, they can't do nothing, you're laughing.
Yeah. I think that the world's got a lot of growing up to do. I mean, as a society, we've got to grow up before we're going to be able to get rid of any of these problems that we have as a society, as a species. I would imagine we have to grow up. We have to stop having these petty differences and allowing these petty differences to be implanted into our heads, because that's what they are. They're all implanted in our heads. Nobody's got a prejudice against somebody without it being put there somewhere along the way.
Programming, as I talked about earlier, quantitative linguistics. Priesthood need everybody programmed so they can run everybody around into divide and conquer strategies into an illusion. I said the priesthood's been running the Roman Jesuit cult has been running around, getting humanity running around the world in darkness. People need to wake up. It's as simple as that. People need to take responsibility for themselves and one another, and if they did that, they cut the beast right out of the way, not contract with it. It's as simple as that. It needs to be as simple as that. Now, in terms of them, what they're doing, let them do it, it's fine. But if you don't contract and you've got dominion over yourself, they can't actually do anything. I'm finding this out all the time by just not contracting with them. And they get angry and they start sending police around. I mean, we're dealing with something at the moment in terms of a friend I'm helping at the moment. And they're bursting for him to contract. They're desperate for him to contract. And the one thing that's destroying them is the fact that he won't contract. And they can't move on him. And it's fascinating watching it go on. It's fascinating. And because he's I already know how this will work, but he's seen it for himself. So when you confirm your truth, it's totally different, and you lose the fear. And I'm helping those people to lose fear, and some of them I'm at the top. And you're getting people to lose that fear and knowing that they have the highest claim on themselves. And actually, if we don't want a contract, we don't have to. You can't force us to do something we don't want them to do. It's as simple as that, and that's why everything requires your consent. So my big thing is no contract, no obligation. Claim dominion of yourself, and outside of that, tell everything else to cease and desist. And outside that, you don't have to do anything. So you don't cause no harm to nobody else. And honour the principle, and the principle shall honour you. The truth will always honour you. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, I've had several people say to me, "Oh, what you're doing, it's a bit risky. You're drawing attention to yourself and all that kind of thing." But I've had several people, including yourself, say, if you stand in truth and honour, they really can't do anything to you.
I've not seen anybody who's done it. If they've done it properly, everyone I know is doing it properly. The priesthood couldn't move on them. Jesuit Roman cult couldn't move on them. And all this system, police, pseudo-public servant calling himself police, couldn't move on them. They all need contract. Can't move without a contract. Birth certificate's a contract. Bail documents a contract. Council tax is a contract. Easement in front of your properties that the council's allowed to charge you is a contract. I'm seeing contract run throughout of it all the time. It's ecclesiastical law underpins the contract, but the contract's running the others. Contract's running all the others, and ecclesiastical underpins it. And if you destroy the contract with ecclesiastical, it's all gone. It doesn't exist. It's all a falsehood. The thing is, we keep agreeing to it. And if we don't contract, we shut it down. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. Now, I'll stop there, and if you want to ask some important questions, we'll get on, and I've got some stuff to read in a sec regarding some of the stuff that Jason asked earlier on, and then I'm going to touch one or two other things, and then I'll come back out again. So let me ask another question, and then I'll go in on something I wanted to go in on, make a couple of points in regards to what Jason was saying, in regards to what else could you put in place, and it regards to what David Witcher is similar to what David Witcher is doing. But I agree with the principle that everybody who's trying to do something to everybody else. So I'll just stop there and let you speak.
Well, I think we'll just let you have the floor, I think. I think that's the best idea, don't you, Andy?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I remember the audience at Leeds were completely captivated when Del was speaking, and I'm pretty much the same.
Take it away,
Right
Del.
then. All right, that's fine. I can have a bit of fun now. So I'm going to just read one or two things because I need to just get some. I need to put facts on the ground before you can start putting solutions in place. So I'm just going to read this. It's called Treaty of Verona 1213. So once upon a time before, well, it's not once upon a time. Well, it was a long time ago. In 1066, the people of England held what's called. Listen to this. This is a key word. A lordal title. Just say that again. People of England, not the Queen, not the King, the people of England. Me, because I wasn't there then, but whoever was there then, whoever's there in the land, the people, not the king, not a pope, not police, not pseudo-servants, the people held the allodial title to their land. The word allodial is like an original title. The allodial is a title that has, it's like a fee simple absolute. It means a land that no one can take from you that's yours. That's basically it in a nutshell without getting too technical. Alright? And the other title to their land. Not even the king, hear this, not even the king could take their land for not without paying a tithe. When the Conqueror came in 1066 and stole the king's title and took the land of the people, from William the King 1066 to King John of England in 1099, England was in dire strait and was bankrupt. Keep in mind of the Roman banks and the ecclesiastical cult funding all the wars. Now let me get into what's really been going on. So, the King, John, invokes what's called the law of Mortmain, the dead man's hand. So the people couldn't pass their land onto the church, meaning the ecclesiastical Roman Jesuit cult, or anyone else without the King's permission. Modern day, which basically is a modern day probate, because the King owed lots of pounds to the Vatican. King John refused to accept the Vatican's representative, Stephen Langton, whom Pope Innocent III had installed to rule England. Remember, he had a contract with the king, and the king had the titles to the land. Remember what I said, he stole the titles to the land. Keep in mind what I said. So, in 1208, England was placed under what's called the papal interdict. Interdict means probation. King John was excommunicated, and having trying to regain his stature, he grovelled before the Pope. And the Pope returned the title to his kingdoms of England and Ireland to the Pope. So, let me read that again. Before the Pope, and King John returned the title of his kingdoms of England and Ireland to the Pope as vassals, which is why when the Pope declared his debut on the sea, he declared he was a vessel. And swore submission and loyalty to him. King John accepted Langton of Archbishop of Canterbury and offered the Pope as a vassal's bond of fealty and homage. 2 months later, in July 1213, King John was absolved, remember absolution of penance and sin, of excommunication at Winchester by the returned Archbishop Stephen Langton. On October 12, 1213, by treaty, contract, King John ratified his surrender of his kingdoms to the Pope as Vicar of Christ, who claimed ownership over everything and everybody on earth as tradition. As I said to Andy, the Treaty of Lisbon, as far as I'm concerned, Queen's never up front in first place. Never up front in first place. That proved that beyond doubt. Now, I'm going to keep going. So, now I'm going to talk about what's happening. So, this is what's been going on, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the church. And basically, what's happened is, through the Inquisition of the Ecclesiastical Black Magic Temple Church, what's has been going on is all the countries in the world are not actually countries, they're called what's corporations soles. So they have a central bank, a Roman temple church, and a Banco de Spirito. And they're all private Jesuit ecclesiastical black magic corporations that are owned by the Roman Curia, which is the New World Order government on planet Earth right now, on Terra. So, the Bank of England is owned by the Pope. The Banco de Spirito is in central London with the City of London, and that's why Cameron wanted to protect it with the EU, because the Banco de Spirito, the Bank of England, which are owned by the Jesuit order and the Roman cult, are protected in that square mile of London, and that's why he has to protect the City of London, because he's got blood oaths to them, and they run him. That's why it's called a prime minister. A minister is somebody who works for a church. A reverend, a minister, it's the same thing. People think it's something different. It's not. So, what's been happening is, since 1213, through Pope Boniface in 1302, under Unum Sanctum, by papal bull, the Pope's declared everybody, trampled everybody underfoot. And so what's happened is, the people think they've got religion on this planet. They don't have religion. They have what's called real lies going on. The real religion on the planet is cosmogony, and that's the science of astrotheology, etymology, symbology, numerology, theology that runs the planet, and that is and cosmology, and which is involved with the sciences that runs this planet, as well as running the planets in this solar system, as well as how the planets relate to each other and the universe and beyond, and the solar system beyond. They know this science because it was taught to them by the Moors during the Watchtower Moors in the Resonance period, and they've got the 33 degrees knowledge from Hecupta that's running through the planet right now. It's not the highest amount of knowledge, but I'm not going to get into that right today. I don't need to. My point is this: the Roman cult used religion to program everybody else using connotative linguistics, and to give us religion which is real lies going on. That's what religion is. And well, they'll do with a real science, and Sal means to know, they do with a real science that runs the planet, that runs the Earth, that runs Terra, that works with the humanity, that works with the energies, works with the plants, works with the biology, works with the cosmogony. They run they use the real science, and they use that to control us. That's the real truth that they don't want you knowing. That's been the issue. So, now that that's been established, once that then happened, then because of the Treaty of Rome of 1213, they used the church through the Crusades to use the church as not a religious corporation to spread Christianity. It's the Inquisition, and it's a political institution. That's where the confusion has been, the mixed public and private. And so when people think they've been spreading Christianity around the world to take Jesus' message for the church, what they've been doing is, Jesus never existed. That was actually Yeshua, and they killed him 300 years before 325 AD through the Council of Nicaea with Constantine. And so what they've been doing is, they've been going around the world saying they're spreading religion, but it's not religion, it's actually the Inquisition, and they've been enslaving everybody on the planet under the guise of Christianity being a religion, but it's not. It's a political corporation, Sole, and the grim reaping everybody's souls and taking everybody's life away through the Grim Reaper doctrine. And that's set up through what's called the Sesquicu Trust of 1666, as well as the Roman Curia, which was upgraded by Sixtus under Immensa Die, which is what tripled the Curia's capacity, which is the New World Order government on the planet right now. That's what's really going on, that the dark priests don't want anybody knowing. So Christianity is not a religion, it's a political corporation. That's where the illusion has gone in. And it's under the Grim Reaper doctrine that we've got a problem in. So now I'll just say this: they are still working the Inquisition. They are the Grim Reapers reaping our souls and warehousing them, because they claim through the Convocation Trust black ceremonial robes are worn because of Saturn's church. Temple Bar is the holiest temple, and it sits on a nameless land known as City, which is square mile of London. The only land in the world without a title, and the only place of land that is above the Vatican. I'm going to dispute that because actually, it's actually the Octagon Temples in Switzerland have actually got the whole thing, and that's why the Pope has a Swiss guard. But it's just below that, I would say that way, because I've been there and I've visited myself. So the Temple Bar basically runs the show. They are the private bar girls administering the legal system in the courts as Baal priests. This is where there's all sorts of crimes are through administering of the ignorant masses and the city of the inner temple, the outer temple, and the middle temple. Then that's done through what's called convocation. This is the third trust which came in 1531, which claims your soul. We have all been baptized into the Roman Jesuit Catholic cult church by the birth certificate. It's a ritual. This ritual is where they perform in hospitals, where they prick the soles of the feet, they claim the live record of birth, and they put ecclesiastical black magic signs all over the birth certificates, which you'll see. And then they do magic in the churches. They do magic in the churches, and they bind the souls down into third density. This is what nobody wants to do with the cult, the Jupiterian Saturnalian cult. Now the planets are not bad, and the energy is not bad. The issue is the way the dark priesthood are using it against us and programming us into it and was forcing us down into a falsehood. Now that's the real truth, and that's what's really been going on, and that's why language or connotative linguistics is so important with the Roman cult, because the programming is how they're making everybody asleep. And that's why I've always said the biggest battle is for the mind, because once the mind's awake, you'll never ever go back to sleep again, and the Roman cult will be destroyed. And the issue is the Roman cult's offering us a service to get between us and the universe, which we've always been a part of. What I keep saying to everybody is cut the beast out of the way and be a part of the universe that you've always been a part of, and be a living, breathing, sentient being with full dominion over your own soul, which is what I keep always talking about. Because once you cut the dark priesthood out of the way, you are who you are, and therefore the priesthood can't interact with you, and they've got no jurisdiction anyway. But they need us, we don't need them. So that's been the biggest issue that's really going on, is convocation, and that's through the papal bull of immense to die, through the Roman Curia. That's what's actually been going on that people don't realise, and that's been the problem. The biggest thing is the illusion through the papal bulls that have been running on the planet. Now I'm just going to read from this document, because I just want to read a little bit. I know off me, but I'd rather just, because I want to read some dates and facts. So I'm going to talk about the Temple Church, and I've visited this place, by the way. I've been there, so it exists. I can prove that. The Temple Church was built by the Knights Templar. The Templar, basically, with the Octagon Templars, basically, is the Templars have the ancient knowledge to the Earth's, what's called the Hells of Memento, the inner Earth, where the Earth has its stargates, because they know that everything's interlinked to the planets in the solar system, and that's why the cosmogony, the cosmology, the astrotheology, the etymology, the real science was the planet, the Jesuits deal with that, the Roman cult, they deal with that stuff because they know that's how the whole thing is run. They deal with the proper stuff, but they give us religion, and it's a corporation. It's a corporation sole that's giving us black magic, but they're using it for a political agenda. But we keep thinking it's religious, and it's not. It's politics. But people don't realize through the papal bulls that they wasn't spreading Jesus. They were spreading the Inquisition. But what they've told everybody is they're spreading the word of Jesus. No, they weren't. They were spreading the Inquisition, and they've been enslaving everybody. That's the real truth. So let me talk about the Temple Church now. Temple Church was built by the Knights Templar in two parts, the round and the chancel. Remember the Lord Chancellor and the Lord Chief Justice and the Chancellor, because again they're all ecclesiastical positions. The round church was consecrated in 1185. Always note that date down, please. And modelled after the circular church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem, because remember that's where one of the portals. There's portals in Rome. There's portals. There's stargates in Egypt, there's portals in Rome, and there's portals in Jerusalem. There's certain energy points on the planet where they have these links to the into the inner Earth and to outside the planet as well. They know this, and that's why they build certain churches on certain places, because they know everything runs on ley lines on the planet, and that's how the energies run on the planet, and that's how the program was. They do with the real higher sciences. So it's modeled on the Holy Sepulchre of Jerusalem. The chancel was built in 1240. The Temple Church serves both the inner temple and the middle temple. They're the private bargos running the courts to this day through the Treaty of Rome of 1213, and is located between the Fleet Street and Victorian Embankment between the Thames River. Its grounds also house the Crown Office. Remember, the Queen's not on the crown, the Pope has the crown. The Crown Office Row, and the Temple Church is outside the canonical jurisdiction. The Master of the Temple is appointed, and it takes place by sealed non-public, meaning private, patent without induction or institution. So the problem is the priesthood, the dark priesthood, have been running this country under the guise of religion, under Christianity, and it's not religious. It's actually corporation soles, Black Grim Reaper doctrine, and ecclesiastical politics. It's all a fraud and illusion. That's the problem. So we're not a Christian country at all. It's a corporation sole with a political agenda to grim reap the souls. That's the real truth. And that's why we've got the problems we've got today. And the only way you can deal with that is simply create your own trust, claim dominion over yourself, and send all the contracts back onto Caesar, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, and turn to cease and desist and remain in honour. And the only way you can defeat a Baal priest, it's all about honour and dishonour. He's going to run off the bench 3 times. And let me quote from their book, which is the ecclesiastical black magic contract, basic instruction before leaving earth, which is what the Bible is. Basic instruction before leaving earth. He's going to write, the Philistines rose the statue on the first night, and it fell down. They rose the statue on the second night, and it fell down. They rose the statue on the third night, and the universe shattered it down into 1,000 pieces, never to rise up against the truth. It's all about honour and dishonour. Therefore, if the Baal priest is on his bench, all you do is claim dominion over yourself, and what is your claim upon me? I claim the highest claim on myself, and outside of that, refuse to contract with him. Thou shalt not bear false witness. He's going to run off the bench 3 times, remain in honour, and the priest is finished. Because he can't be in dishonour, because that's the only way he can lose his Baal priest of power, and that's how you defeat the dead priest. And that's how you defeat priests all over the planet. That's what people should be doing. Proof of life, prove who you are, remain in honour, and the priest cannot act in bad faith, and unclean hands, and dishonourable conduct. The Pope Francis has already told them this already. You've got more proprio, the immunity's been stripped. Create your own trust, give him notice of more proprio, tell him to cease and desist, refuse to contract and remain in honour, and the beast is finished. I yield the floor.
Caught me off guard there. I think it caught us both off guard.
Yeah, sorry, I was
like listening to what you were saying so intently, and we've both got his mics muted, and suddenly I yield the floor, and we're jumping about. Yeah, it's really is interesting stuff. Andy, did you want to say something?
No, you go ahead, mate.
Right, okay. Like I say, it's really interesting stuff, and it's quite a lot to get your head around, isn't it? I mean, if it is really complicated, and so the simplified version in your eyes is just don't contract with anybody, and you no contract. If you don't contract, then the beast is defeated.
That's the big issue. Why do you think a birth certificate was created when I talked about convocation when I claim your soul? That's why they've done it, because it's a contract. Your mum transferred title ownership. What's happened is, when the live record of birth is created, they create 2 titles. The loaded title is the original live record of birth that's created. On that, they create 2 titles. A legal one and an equitable one. They give us the equitable and they keep the legal one. That's why everyone talks about it's illegal to have an illegal name. They're correct. The only one who could have a legal name is those that the Bar Guild have got blood off. That's the truth. That's correct. So, you cannot have a legal name. What you can do is claim ownership over the legal name from a point of dominion. That's why they remind you in their custody, but people don't understand property law. They don't understand trust law. They don't understand state law. They don't understand ecclesiastical law. I understand them all, and I overstand them all, but I certainly don't stand under them. So, again, it's in the words. The program is in the word with the linguistics. So I understand them and I overstand them. And the issue is, claim dominion over yourself. You're the living man. You've got the highest claim on yourself. And outside of that, you don't contract. Because they cannot inhibit your right not to contract. Because my thing is, if that's the case, Baal priest, if you've got a higher claim than me, let's do this. And that's as simple as this. Under penalty of perjury, under full commercial liability, under mortal appropriate, because your immunity's been stripped by Francis, let's go. And the Baal priest will run off the bench. So I've been telling people this, and I've got people who are sleeping, who are just saying to the Baal priest, no contract. And the priest runs off the bench because they need a contract. They don't even talk these words that I'm talking. I just get them to tell the Baal priest no contract. I had a court shut down in London just about 2 months ago barrister had never seen anything like that. I've been practicing 25 years. My friend went in there. I told him exactly what to do. Put the bail priest on Bangalore principles. I told him exactly how to deal with the bail priest, and I told him exactly not to contract, and to shut the beast down. Shut the whole court down. Police was in there and everything. Police want to know what a contract was. They didn't have a clue. Totally shut the thing down. And they're not even saying the words that I've just told you. They're just telling them not. They're just saying no contract. And the bail priest can't move. It's all about honor and dishonor. You put the highest claim on yourself. Tell the bail priest his immunity has been stripped on the motu proprio. He's got a blood oath in the temple, which I already know. I know you are. I've got the highest claim on me. If you've got a higher claim on me, then if you remain in honor on that bench, you can put a higher claim on me and I'll testify against you. And that will destroy the bail priest because he can't bear false witness. That's the only way he can lose the bail priest of power is false witness, dishonor. And if he bears false witness, his bail priest is finished, his power's finished. So therefore he knows that if you claim your highest claim and you're in honor, he can't move on you because he never had a contract in the first place. And that's why they always say to you, can you give me a name? Because it's a contract. So just claim dominion of yourself. Don't contract the bail priest under full commercial liability, under penalty of perjury, motu proprio. Your immunity's been stripped. I've got the highest claim on me. Outside of that, I'm not contracting. You can't inhibit my right to contract. Outside of that, he can't move on your bail priest is finished. When he runs off the bench, because you've got it honor, you've got the highest claim. Close all the accounts back down to zero. Discharge all the alleged debt. Inform the cleric that you're doing that. Put them on notice that if the court needs his equity in exchange for a remedy, that you're making the priest bail trustee, you're making the cleric trustee, and that you're going to inform Francis that they're not honourable in their conduct, it's bad faith, and unclean hands, you've got the highest claim, cease and desist, and then make them trustees, and then get the big devil to come and deal with the little devil, get the curate to come and deal with them. They're in dishonour, they've abandoned the oaths. Pope Francis stripped your immunity. You've not got a higher claim than me. I've closed our account back to zero. I've discharged the alleged debt. The court will need this equity. It can take the equity off your bonds. You're not running off my estate. Cease and desist. Walk out the court and it's done. Enough said.
Brilliant, Del. We did get a question a little while back, and it slipped past. But you were really on the flow. I didn't want to interrupt you. But Babushka asked, "What's more important, a man's word or his contract?"
That's interesting, your word, because it's your energy. It comes from dominion. Your word is the most important thing, your honour. That's what I said. I said it, honour and dishonour. The bail priest knows this. This is why he wants you to contract. I said that just as I finished. I said that just above his about 2 minutes ago. I said, he's going to ask you for a name. He wants you to contract. That's your word. That's your energy going in. It's called oratory in the Latin. The bail priest, that's why they use connotative linguistics with English as an acidic language to program you. Because it's lost all the tones, you've not done the high consciousness. You go in there, bear false witness on yourself and the penance, and the priest has to grant you absolution. It's all black magic. It's a falsehood. So, Bruce is right. Your honour is your highest claim, which is dominion. And therefore, your word cuts like swords, which is honour, and it's your energy that defeats the bail priest, because he can't bear false witness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Jeff's also asking, this no contract route re council tax, how have people been jailed for non-payment?
I went with the council tax. All we did with the council tax, we did it. With the council, I like having fun with the council. I did total have fun with the council. All we did is we put the council under obligations on contract law. And now I think it's subsection 79 of the Local Government Act, where it says all the liabilities of the inhabitants should be on the liabilities of the council. That's never been repealed. So we showed them that, and my friend never paid the council tax. Because if it's not been repealed, it has to stand. So we showed them the contract, and if you're using the Finance Act of 2012 and 1992, I'm saying this act came before your act. We've got the case law that quoted with it, therefore it has to stand. And if that's the case, if you think I've got a contract outside of that, then you have to remain in honour and prove it. And the council ran away, didn't say anything. They had an executive branch of government, which is not judicial, hired out a courtroom, pretended to be judicial, got a bail priest to sit on the bench, issued a fraudulent document to the bailiff, which was not signed. And then what we did to the bailiff, he came and offered us an ecclesiastical contract. So all we did was he moved his private access, ended the contract back onto Caesar, and just left it at that. And the bailiff never turned up. So that's what somebody did in a recent case. But yeah, we just rebutted them in law. I think the issue is you've got to rebut them in law because silence is acquiescence. So you have to rebut them in law in order for your point to stand in law. That's why I said you claim your dominion and rebut them in law because it remains in honour. That's how you defeat the bail priest. So the same math would apply. I hope that answers this question.
Yeah, I think it does as well. And also, I think that you'll find that everybody that has been jailed for not paying the council tax at some point has contracted.
Yes, has contracted, but they've agreed to ecclesiastical position. So what they need to do is rebut that in law and then put the bail priests and any other council people who work for the council under obligations, under fraud act. That's what we've been doing. They've been running off. Just put them under obligations, under fraud acts, because they've got to disclose. It's a technical offence for 10 years in jail. Mm-hmm. You've done statutory defence for fraud.
So something I'd like to ask you, Del, is I've seen a lot of people going with the return to sender. Now, if you were to write on your envelope, return to sender, I do not recognise you. I do not understand your intent. I do not have an international treaty with you. No assured value, no liability, and then pop that back in the letterbox. How would you stand there?
That's interesting. All I've been doing is, it depends who they've written to. If they've written to a non-de-gear, civil mortuus, ens legis, surety, Roman ecclesiastical birth magic certificate contract, and they want you to stand as surety under ens legis, I'd be like, if it comes to Mr. such and such, or Miss such and such, well, that's a legal fiction that they need to contract with under the STQ Trust. That's not me, because I've got dominion over myself. Return to a sender, addressee, meaning trustee, addressee not recognised, pop it back in the post, and there you go. I keep it simple as that. 45-degree angle in blue writing. Simple as you go. What you've done is similar. My issue is it's just that they have to make you trustee in order to operate the ecclesiastical black magic trust. So the law is right to the non-de-gear. And therefore, if you're I'm not civil mortuus, I'm not a non-de-gear. So I always say to them, whenever I contract him with them, I always say to him, I will not respond to a non-de-gear, which is a noble Roman title, which is ecclesiastical black magic French war name, which means you're at war. And that's what the problem is. The Pope's classing you a ward of state and you're at war. And because you're at war, it can cause you harm because you're bearing false witness on yourself, you're committing penance, and you're at war with him. And he's locking you up in custody because you're saying you're incompetent in law and you're at war and you're beating everybody up. You're bearing false witness on yourself. So people don't realise what's really going on in those black magic courts. And every time we deal with police, it's a bail document, it's a war contract. Summons is a war contract. Warrant is a war contract. That's why it's a war rant, because of ranting war on you. It's all etymology. If people studied the science that treats the words, you would smash the dead bail priest to pieces. A war rant and a ranting war on you. That's what a war rant is. It's a warrant. It's ranting war on you. It's all war. It's all military. Everything's at war because the Roman dark priesthood, the Roman cult, Jesuit order cult, has got everybody running around the planet using ecclesiastical black magic. And everybody's running around after beast, but nobody can tell me what it is. So the big thing is no contract. Use your words, use your dominion, use your honour, and no contract return to sender, addressee not recognised. I'm not standing as trustee. They can't do anything. So yeah, what you said, assured value, surety, yep, not a problem. I've just been sending it back like that. You can send it back your way. As long as it's at a 45 the angle, you're writing it back, pop it back in the post, just don't contract with them. That's your dominion. They cannot inhibit your right not to contract.
So yeah, I do. I've not heard of the 45-degree angle thing before. What does that do, Dal?
Well, it's all on. It's 45. It's a 9. It's the highest number. You put energy on it. They know because they study the science that runs the planet. That's why they do things on 4s and stuff like that, and on 1s, because it's all on male energy, and on 1 it's on square energy, which squares. It keeps the planet on a low vibration because the whole universe is waking up right. Well, no, this part of the universe and this solar system is changing vibration right now. The dead priests would know this. So when you put it on the 9, the 9's on the curve. The planet's spin on female sexual energy. So when you put it on that spin, it defeats the priesthood. So it's all Freemasonry. So they know what's going on. So that's why you put a 45 degree, because 4 + 5 is 9. So you do it at 45 degree angle. The Masons do this all the time. They know what's going on. The Freemasons know what's going on. They take a blood oath and they get told what's going on. That's why you've got the police in the same bed as the judges in the same bed and the priesthood in the same bed, because they're all part of the same Roman cult and they all take blood oaths. They all know what's going on and they're just enslaving humanity under the Grim Reaper doctrine.
Jeff's just got one more question on the council tax there. He's still on council tax. When is this so-called contract created or agreed to?
I agree with him. That's what we challenged them on. I agree. I totally agree with him. This is what we challenged them on. The liabilities, it clearly states in the Government Finance Act of 1779 under Government Act 1888 that the liabilities are on the council. The contract's on the council. It's not on the people. That's what we said to him. If you can show me a contract, show me the contract. We said the council tax is on your liability. We showed them where it was on your liability. We showed them the case where the liability was. And we said, if you've got a contract with us, show us where the contract was. They couldn't do it. They couldn't show us where the contract was. They did it on free. They wrote us 3 letters. We wrote 3 letters back, stating the same points. We did them under Fraud Act. They kept writing back to us. We kept saying, no, it's fraud. You haven't proven the contract. They then cheated and got an executive branch of government to hire out a court, then got a dead male priest, a judicial branch of government, to then issue a fraudulent order, which they're not supposed to do, and we charged them on that as well. A fraudulent order that went to a bailiff, and then removed the bailiff's implied right of access because we don't have a contract. And like I said, once that was done, we put in private right of access, and the bailiff never turned up, and they didn't pay council tax. So I'm agreeing with him. There is no contract. There is actually no contract. They're presuming there's one, but silence is acquiescence.
Yeah.
Ignorance of the law is no excuse. They keep telling you. So therefore, you have to rebut them in law in order for your point to stand, and that's what we did.
Excellent, Del. I know we always used to do 2 hours. Now we've got the capability to run on to a 3rd hour. Are you okay to stick with us for a bit longer, Del?
I don't mind. I've got a couple of things I'm going to be doing in a bit, but yeah, I don't overly mind.
Okay.
If you had another question to that, then that's fine. But that's what we did, and like I said, I agree with him. There is no actual contract, so yeah, I can stay for a bit longer. That's fine. I'll let you ask him the next question if he's got one, but that's what we did. But he's right. There is no original contract. The liability is actually on the council. We pointed that out to them, but they're still going like the gangsters. But like I said, we just removed the base and private right of access, and we never heard anything after that, so...
Okay, I would just wondering...
It is what it is, but that's what we've done.
Yeah, I was just wondering if now might be a good time to have another music break so we can just wet a whistle, freshen up.
Yeah, do it. Yeah, it's your show. I'm just here to speak and do what I'm supposed to do. So you call the shots. You know what I'm like, Andy. I'll let you do what you need to do. It's fine with me.
Right. We'll be just back in just under 7 minutes.
Super.
Lady Mercy won't be home tonight.
And welcome back to Raconteurs News, untwisted, unsweetened news, and thanks for telling me to unmute my mic, Jason. Sorry about the slight delay there. And we're back with Delroy going into the third hour. It's always great to have you on, Del, and we're getting some great answers there. You still there, Del?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, mate.
I'm back on Friday.
No problem. And Jason's had a little munch there. And so, where would you like to go in the third hour, Del? Is there anything you'd like to talk about?
To be honest with you, I was just finishing up when we were swinging. I mean, my points I've made very clear in terms of the Dominion stuff, so I'm quite happy with what I've done there, to be honest with you. So, like I said, I'm quite free to go wherever you like now, because I think the most important thing was just that Dominion stuff, because obviously when you're dealing with a Roman cult, Jesuit order, that certain things have to be made very clear. So I kind of touched upon that, and now that's to be dealt with, what people should be doing. But yeah, I've done that, and I think Jeff had a couple of questions. I just hope that they were kind of answered with the stuff that I was on about. Other than that, I didn't have anything else that I wanted to specifically talk about. So I can go wherever you want now. You can just put me on something, and I can have a bit of fun before we finish up.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. Well, I've got something that has intrigued me. Last Tuesday, we had Chris Spivey on, and he was talking about his latest article, which he published the following day, and that's about how it's deconstructing the death of Princess Diana, and he's saying that not only did she not die, but she never existed in the first place. All images of her are photoshopped. And there's various different actors portraying her. He gave instances of who actually did her voice. He says it's no coincidence that whenever you see a picture of her in public, she'd always got her hand over her face to disguise the fact that there really was no such person. Now, since then, Carrots has shared a couple of links. One was the Daily Fail article, somewhere in, I think it was Larne in Northern Ireland, a fire engine, a 66-year-old man and a 19-year-old youth stole a fire engine and crashed it into the front of a house. Now, you see the pictures of this carnage all up the street, but when you start looking really carefully, a lot of the things don't look like they make sense. It's heavily photoshopped. Some of the angles, they've got satellite dishes on the wall, and then when you look from another angle, the satellite dishes aren't there. This fire engine's run up the street, bashed into a load of cars, but then it's ran into somebody's front garden. Yet there's no tracks behind it on one particular photograph. All the flowers and daffodils and hydrangeas are all perfectly intact. So does that kind of fit in what you were saying about they're just creating this massive illusion for us?
Yeah. MK Ultra style, quantitative linguistics, tell a lie vision. Vision in French means sight, so it's telling lies to your vision.
Mm-hmm.
Telling lies. That's why I call it tell a lie vision, because it's telling lies to your vision, and that's exactly what you've just meant. You've just explained there. And that's been the issue. People can break down what words mean of etymology. It just destroys the construct. It really does. And the priesthood can never put you into darkness again. And you can stop contracting with the dark priesthood and kick the beast out of the way and just be part of the universe, which you've always been a part of. And therefore, you don't need a priesthood. You can get on with what you're doing and get on with what you're supposed to be doing, if I'm being honest. So, yeah, anything on the tell a lie vision has got an element to it of theatre with crisis actors to stage events, which you just talked about. That's a staged event. 7/7 was a staged event. 9/11 were all staged events, and basically they are done for a purpose of distraction. But behind that, there's always a metaphysical message behind that, and this is what people miss when it comes to connotative linguistics. The programming side of it, in terms of symbolism and the black magic fear casting spell projection, is put into your subconscious mind, which always picks it up, whereas your conscious mind won't. And that's where the issue is. It's where the linguistics comes into it, because they're constantly programming this distractionary fear-based in place to put you off what you're really supposed to be dealing with. So it wouldn't surprise me that it was an op on with a fire engine. That wouldn't surprise me. It's an op at all whatsoever. No surprise. In regards to Di, I haven't really looked into that too much. What's interesting is I don't know if she was alive or whatnot, but what I know is definitely the ritual they did underneath that tunnel. It was definitely a blood sacrifice. So if it was an illusionary one, it's an illusionary one, but the point is they're meant to sacrifice her. She was always born to be sacrificed. So it was a blood ritual, definitely. So whether she was alive or not, I can't prove that or not, but it was definitely a blood ritual. And that's why all the powering and all the madness came out afterwards. And that was getting the nation in mind because they needed that energy to spin other things going. So I'm probably going to agree with me. There's so much illusions around here that they need to get everybody contracting in some kind of way, whether it's through telelive vision or whether you're signing contracts. They need to get your attention. Why is it they need to keep that constantly at your mind? Constantly throwing things at your mind all the time. Constantly bombarding with you. Sometimes the best thing to do is not contracting and get some inner calm and space and energy into yourself out of the foolishness of third-dimensional Earth.
Yeah, I'm just looking at this pictures of this fire engine incident. It does look very staged. Does look very. It's the first time I've seen it. I heard briefly about it, but I don't watch news at all. I couldn't really care less. Well, but you know, yeah, it is. I mean, first of all, it's got a lot of the usual in big stories. What you've got, because one of the pictures is a wavy-haired man, and he reminded me. The first thing he reminded me of was the landlord. You know, when Joanna Yates, that young lady, was murdered. Remember in Bristol, she was murdered, and they got the landlord. They arrested the landlord because he looked a bit. You know, his hair were wavy and it were all wispy, and he was a bit of an eccentric. And so they arrested him, and he ended up getting millions from newspapers that had printed some stuff. Now there seems to be another bloke that looks exactly the same as him, dressing same. And it just seems to be like they just bring out the same stereotypical people that are witness to these events, as well as these events just being stereotypical. Pretty easy to see the fate.
Yeah, and because most people are programmed with quantitative linguistics, they don't question it. They go with the flow. And they spit the same program. Oh, look, this has happened. And they go and tell their friends and spit the same program. Oh, this has happened. And they cast spells not only on themselves, but they cast spells on people who are around them as well, on top of that also. And that's what the trickery is with the telling lies to your vision or television. That's what the priests would use it for. Under the frequencies using subliminal messaging, NK Ultra style programming. And so they know exactly what they're doing, and they know exactly why they're doing it, and they know they put certain emotions behind that when these events have took place. And they also have crisis actors who get involved, and they're paid to do that role. So you'll always have like what I call pansies. So that what you just referred to with that guy, that's a pansy. Like the certain pansies that they have, the typical actors that they have, that specifically they have for that role, and that's why you're always have the same sort of kind of people doing the same role. That lets you know how if it's a staged event, because you always get the same things, the same signs that happen. You get the date, simply you get a certain date numerologically. You get a certain time that happens numerologically. Then you get the same kind of pansies wearing similar sorts of clothes, doing exactly the similar sorts of things. Because the one thing you do is they can't bear false witness. So if they're going to do something, there have to be a certain amount of truth in it. So that's why they do things and stage it in a certain way, because it's truthful when they do it in the sense of people are actually there, and all they're doing is their interpretation of them being there. So they're not. It's kind of a ecclesiastical lie stroke truth at the same time. So they're telling you the truth, but the magic behind it is false to begin with. So they're programming, they're telling you the truth from the point that it's actually happening at that point, But the whole charade behind it, the whole energy behind it, is to lock you down and program you out.
Yeah, and because they keep doing the same scenarios and they have the same sort of people, I suppose subliminally, when people see these, when people see these characters repeated and these scenarios repeated and repeated, subliminally it gives them a sense of ease, I suppose, because they sort of know what's going to come next and that it's real and that they sort of know how this is going to pan out. You know, for example, when you hear on the news a high-profile child that's gone missing, you pretty much know how that's going to end. It very rarely ends well, does it? So, but in that, subliminally, people have an attachment to that happening because they see it over and over again. So it makes it easier to fool the masses, but it makes it obviously more, more overt to people that are paying attention.
I'd agree with that. The issue is the priesthood need humanity based in its root chakra, which is your red chakra, which is your bottom chakra, in your lowest form of consciousness, in order for programming to take its most effect. That's it's trauma-based, connotative linguistic programming. It's trauma-based to keep in trauma, and so they play on your most fear, trauma-based emotions. And that's why with children, they always end up going missing and they always sacrifice them, because it attaches you straight away, because everybody has a unique empathetic point to creation that's brought onto the souls that are brought into this third-dimensional plane. And so when that happens, that the empathy that goes out to that, they can feed off that energy and twist the energy in a different way. So they know exactly, perfectly what they're doing. They've been at this for a long, long time, and they know exactly why they're doing it, how they're doing it, and they also know how they're benefiting from it. And like I say, if you look at most of your churches and buildings where these take place, the buildings are all built on certain ley lines. So the energy they're getting from these whole events, they're using it for certain circumstances. I'm just going to say off-world beings, NFAs, fallen angelics, and they feed off that energy. And so that's why they keep doing these blood sacrifices all the time, because somebody, not us, remember, it always talks about humanity being the top of the food chain. That's a false witness and a lie by the Roman cult, Jesuit cult, because we're in food, because your energy is being fed off by other beings, fallen angelics and elsewhere. That's why they do this blood sacrifice constantly all the time. They've constantly got us at some kind of war where we're constantly in some sort of fear all the time through trauma-based programming. And that's because they know that helps to power other things. Let's just put it that way. I'm not going to go any further than that. I think that's far enough. But yeah, the wickedry and dishonestness behind it is very apparent and very upfront. And just a bit of due diligence, putting a bit of work in, you will see the Roman cult, Jesuit cult, at work with these off-world fallen angelic beings, as well as benefiting from it in terms of the ecclesiastical fiat system, which is actually, there's no real money anyway, it doesn't exist. It's the energy and the control they get from it. That's what they really need to keep the planet on a low vibration to run this society in a fraudulent position. But I'll stop there. I think that's enough said on that front for me anyway.
Yeah, thanks for that, Del. I thought Andy were going to ask a question then. We got anything else going on in the chat box? I'm just thinking because Del did seem to be, perhaps wanting to make himself a cup of tea or something.
I'm all right. I just wanted to finish that point there. I think that was a good point to end it on. So yeah, I'm all right in a minute. I'm fine at the moment. I just like to end it at a certain point when I've said the point. Then I give myself a sort of a point to end it on, and then the next question will come. I think that explains it enough without me being too esoteric, because we could be here all night. And it's done talks private side. I mean, we've got all over the place. It's absolutely mad what we're having to deal down with down here at the moment. It's ridiculous. It's just so much going on, and people just don't have a clue. They really are. They're really got to humanity's really got to get a move on and wake up and take responsibility. Yeah,
I remember last time you came on with us, Del. I mean, we're running into the third hour tonight, but last time it went a bit crackers, and we did about 4.5 hours, didn't we? But we had Rob with us that night. We haven't spoken to Rob for ages. We'll have to get back on again soon.
It's fine. I messaged him not long ago. I need to give him a buzz, actually.
Yeah.
It's fine. I went to go see him in November. He's doing all right. He's doing his thing. And I like Rob because he knows his stuff. He knows what he's doing. And, he'll come back when he's ready to come back at his own pace. Like I said, he did that show for us. And he doesn't often get on there. He gets on when he feels that it's the right kind of show and the right sort of people. So now you've done this show with you and I've told him you've got your own station because I told him that, I'll message him that you have and maybe we'll do something. At some point, we'll get him on. We'll do something together like we did last time. So we can certainly do something with him. That's not a problem. I'll just give him a buzz, and we'll try and arrange something. Get him on because again, he's very knowledgeable as well. It'd be good to get on. And I'd say he's always had a good following as Rob. He's had lots of support. So it's about getting the right people on, getting the truth, as much truth out there to as many people as possible. Connecting with those people, and that same energy, connecting them with, they send out that same energy, and that counteracts all the foolishness that the priests are programming. So again, it works the same. You're under the principle the same way, and you apply the same math. But your energy spins differently. It'll do what it needs to do. So So I just thought I'll stop there and just let you say what you're going to say.
Yeah, there's even an observation that Patrick's made about that Daily Mail article. And there's a picture of the fire station where the alleged fire truck was robbed from, and the wall is pushed inwards instead of outwards. So they drove it out and bashed the wall and pushed it inwards. Doesn't really make sense, does it?
No, it never does. And the thing is, though, if people are aware of stuff, you can spot the lies all the time. But most people won't do what Patrick's just done. They won't do that. They'll just take it as it is from a literal perspective. They will not do any due diligence. And don't take my word for it. Always do your own due diligence. You confirm your own truth. And because they don't do that, they take what they've been told and what they've been pumped on television to be true, and it programs them, and they cast spells on themselves, and they lock themselves down, and as well as telling everybody else and everybody around them, and they lock them, your friends, down. So they're spitting the same program. That's what was happening in the Matrix. You want to film the Matrix, that's what it was showing you. And it was only those souls that were awake, that knew better, that could actually do something and go where they wanted to go, and use their own free will and apply the math. So the same thing has to apply, and I agree with Patrick. People don't do their own due diligence, they don't study, they don't question it. So as far as they're concerned, they take it as it is, and they just spit the same program. So it's obvious once you know where to look and once you know how to look. But a lot of people, they just don't bother. They're quite happy to sit in status quo and let the beast run riot.
Yeah, but that oftentimes depends on how well they're doing in the status quo. So do you think the tipping point is going to be when more and more people are worse and worse off in the status quo? And what sort of implications does that have for the people right at the very bottom? How hard is it going to get for them before things change?
Yeah, because there's no real money. As I've said earlier, there's no real money. It's to just really double stock trust to create ecclesiastical fiat. So, to be honest with you, because it's their system, they can up and down it whenever they want. That's what I mean. The whole thing is fake. It's an illusion. So, it's the control, as I said earlier, the control they get from it. That's more important than the actual money itself. And now it's going to get bad for us or not get bad. It's the control that they can use and exert on us from that. That's what the issue people got to deal with. It's the control that under the Grim Reaper doctrine issue that people have got to deal with, because that's what they use to put you in the position where you said they're suffering. That's my point. So, to be honest with you, they have to change the system because everything's changing vibration anyway. So the new system they're going to bring in place under the SDRs and the global currency reset, that'll happen probably this year, I would have thought. I mean, looking into it now, and there's a hefty chance that between now and October that will possibly happen with a new BRIC system that's going to in place, because the old system, system, is a fraudulent construct. They know that, and that's about to collapse on itself anyway because of the dishonour that it's caused and harm it's caused on everybody else. So it's going to implode on itself anyway under the weight of its own lies. So I think it will get worse for everybody. apart from those who have been working with that priesthood. But I think it's good for it to get worse, because at the same time people can reach, humanity will have the opportunity to reach one another, and if you do that, that same principle where you've reached out to each other, that principle can then be honoured around the planet, and things can be changed just through people's energy, through people's thought process, and through people claiming dominion, just not contracting with the beast, and shutting it down. It's as simple as that, but it will get worse, and and everybody won't be saved. I don't think everybody will be. I think some people have come down here to get caught up in third density and to learn from that and go through the whole slog. Some of us might leave here soon enough anyway, because it's time for us to go. So you can't predict anything. What I do know is that they're working on certain Jesuit time codes, and those time codes, there's so many of them, and they as I said right at the beginning, right at the top, for 2 hours ago, those time codes are to some degree, there's certain parts that are solid and then some of it's fluid. And so they have to kind of program us and keep some of the solid bits solid, and then the fluidity bits, they, based on how they program us and what feedback they get from us, will depend on what other programs are put in place, so they can benefit from that anyway. So SDRs, global currency reset, is probably going to come. It will get worse before it gets better, definitely. And you just got to watch this space on that, because like I said, between sort of like June time to around about November-ish time, will be a hefty chance of that happening. It could happen before then, might not do. But we've got the Olympic Games this year, which is a big ecclesiastical ritual. You've got your World Championships. You've got lots of big events coming. So there's plenty of scope. We've got Ramadan in June and stuff. There's plenty of scope for them to pull off a major ecclesiastical event in order to get what they want. It won't work on us because we're awake, but those who are asleep, unfortunately, will get programmed. So the only way we can help is to tell the truth, but keep spreading the truth, and putting that energy out there, and it'll do what it's supposed to do. And that's it. You can only deal with what you're supposed to control, what you're supposed to do. And outside of that, you've just got to let the universe do what it does, because you can't inhibit anybody else's free will.
No, that's it. I mean, you need to remain dominion over yourself, don't you? That's pretty much the key to it. And if we could get everybody to do that, then, like you said, the beast is dead. But we've had our financial guy who comes on regularly with us, Paul. He's been saying he's convinced that that the entire monetary system is about to collapse in the West, and like you said, that the BRICS and the Chinese and the BRICS nations have already got a different system ready to take over. So your prediction that perhaps June to October may be accurate, because we're hearing it from all different sorts of places.
Yeah, SDRs, yeah, they're bringing it in. I'm going to do some due diligence like your financial guy has. But again, my thing is this on money. Money is a false construct, period. Andy knows this. I'm gonna cut it up. Humanity doesn't need money. We need each other. Money is a false construct. I'm not going to get into why. Metaphysically, I can't get into that on the air, because we could be here for hours by doing that. It would just be way too long. And I'd have to go esoteric, and Andy knows what that means when I go esoteric. It's just so far, some people just won't be able to comprehend it. It's just ridiculous. Money's not money like money people think it's money. It's not money, it's like that. It's not. It's what it allows them to control you, as I said about 5 minutes ago. That's the biggest issue with the Grim Reaper doctrine for these STQ trusts. Now, you are right, and your financial guy is right. Definitely going to be the SDRs. But my point will be this. If humanity is really going to be free, it doesn't need money. The whole construct of money, period, I don't care what system comes in place, is fraudulent. Totally fraudulent. Money, most high-dimensional civilizations, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, exist without money. They don't need it. Money is a false construct. What money does is it takes something outside of you to deal with you, when actually your word and your honor should be, what we're doing right now should be your money. That should be, your word should be your honor. You're going to do something, do it. You don't need somebody's money to do something for you. The moment you put money into somebody's hand, it takes that relationship between you and that other person and puts it into a contract. And that contract takes it away from you and that other person, when actually you could just do business between you and that other person. You don't need the money. The money is a false contract. What it does is it allows somebody else to control you and that other person, and it allows. somebody to control you and the other people that you're dealing with from a point of them charging you for you using that money, and then that money is not your money, and they charge you for something that you could just do without the money and just agree between you anyway. That's the problem with money. It can be used for a part and it can be abused. Most higher dimensional civilizations don't exist without money. We're one of the few that's in third density that's got the monetary system in the entire universe that's dealing with it the way they're dealing with it. Money is a false construct. So my big thing is, to be honest with you, I don't care what monetary system they bring in. Money is a fraudulent construct anyway, period. The real issue is the cosmogony of how money is in terms of the alchemical process and the consciousness. The Jesuits and the Roman cult know this, and that's why I call it moon eye. Because if it's moon eye, now you're dealing with the real construct that the dead priests are talking about. And they know that the financial week starts on a moon day, because they know the science that governs the planets and the solar system and how it works. And that's why on a Sunday, okay, you've got the pound. The pound is worth gold. The gold represents the sun. It represents high consciousness in terms of the alchemical process. That's why the dark priesthood put all the world's gold into collateral accounts, and in Switzerland and in the Philippines, and they're hiding all the world's true wealth and gold and giving us all this fiat, because they can control the minds of the people, because the gold, metaphysically, and the alchemical process represents high consciousness. They know that. They know that's got a link. So they know this, they do it deliberately. That's why they deal with to keep the gold for themselves, because they know what that means as an alchemical process. But your consciousness is not totally linked to that, but it does have it represents that in terms of the sun, because the sun again gives life in this solar system and to all the other planets, and they're all interlinked anyway. Now the silver coins, meaning the moon, the moon controls the seas, which is currency, and that's why the sea or the high seas is under maritime law. The priests are running under ecclesiastical law, because the currency or the moon and the currency is how they control everybody using the maritime law under the canon, under ecclesiastical law. That's what they're doing. So metaphysically, that links the moon, the planet, and then the sun. Or that's why you go to church on a Sunday, because they know how the sun works. Now that works in terms of your consciousness. And then they've got the planet of love, which is at your heart chakra, which is Venus, which is your copper. They know all the metaphysics behind it. They just ain't telling you about it. Because if you knew this, you knew what the priesthood were doing. They just don't want the masses knowing all this stuff, because it will cut the dark priesthood out of the way, because we don't even need the Jesuit Roman cult. So money is a false construct you don't even need anyway. But the process, the cosmogony, that's what philology, the alchemical process behind it is what you need. The knowledge to that is what's the truth. That's what they're dealing with. They don't want you knowing, because you have a free self from the priesthood. That's the truth. They don't want you knowing, dealing with the real truth. So moon eye, and you find out what's starting on the moon day, they know that. Because the moon represents currency, which you see, which is the money, which is what they use to control the people. But it's not real money, it's moon eye, and it's fake moon eye that, because it's fiat. But the real money is what the Jesuits keep for themselves, and they've got that, all the coins, all the real gold, and they put that in the world's, Jose Rizal, he put all the world's gold in collateral accounts. He was a black pope. The Jesuit court have been doing this whole thing for a long time, and they're going to be out of here soon enough anyway. They haven't got even long here anyway. And I'm not going to get into that metaphysically. They've not got long here anyway. That's why Francis went to the States in 2015 on a blood moon tetrad. He came in on the summer solstice. I mean, on the autumn equinox, and he left on the blood moon tetrad. All blood sacrifice and rituals going on while he were over there, because he was telling everybody it's time to make changes, because the universe is changing up, the vibration of the planet in this part of the solar system changing up. We haven't got a choice. We've got to put on the 5-5 frequency now. It's got to change in the new brick system, because they haven't got a choice, because the whole consciousness and the whole thing is shifting. They've got to get ready for 2017. They're playing out Revelation. I've already figured out the time, because I've already done it. The whole thing is an illusion. The whole thing is a sham, and the whole thing is a fraud. People need to wake up. Stop contracting the beast and claim dominion. Start dealing with each other and take responsibility for one another. Cut the dark priesthood out the way. I yield the floor.
Mm-hmm. So what we really need to be doing, possibly, Del, in the meantime, while we're waiting for this collapse to be coming about, is to start building our alternative system to go forward, don't we? We
just need each other. Yeah, you're great. We just need each other. That's the thing. Because whatever we put in place, we'll be dealing with each other. The issue is if we use their system or anything that they offer, that's a contract. that puts you under their jurisdiction. So whatever we do has got to be concurrent for us, where we honour one another and cut the beast out of the way. And once we've done that, he can't even interact. It's finished.
Yeah, well, you're right though. That's once we get back a sense of who we are and how we should relate to each other, and we start getting a mutual respect, and on the whole, growing up, because that is what we need to do. We need to grow up, because people are still looking around for somebody to blame for what the situation that they're in, and but people usually don't look at themselves, and so we need to grow up and be able to look at ourselves, and then just be treat people how you'd like to be treated. You know, be nice to people. Do something. Just anything at all. It's so simple and it's so empowering as well. And you'll get more pleasure from just giving a $5 or a $10 to somebody who's you're walking past who's down on the luck than you will putting on a pink hat and a pink T-shirt and pink tight shorts and going running around a field so that you can raise money so that the CEO of Cancer Research UK can get their £250,000 salary this year.
Well said, Jason.
Sorry.
No, absolutely, mate. That was very well said. So, yeah, I think we're getting pretty much wound up towards the end of the show there. So, have you got any last bits of information you'd like to give out, Del, before we draw things to a close?
Yeah, I think we've all said it. I think everybody's had the bits to say and said the pieces. I pretty much agree with everybody's points. Yeah, just claim dominion of yourself and stop contracting with the beast. I just keep saying it's going to have to be done. People have to start taking responsibility for one another and honouring each other and just use that unity principle, and the universe will honour us where the way it's supposed to be done. Humanity is reaching a point now where from the book tells you, basic instruction for living earth, it tells you what the Roman cult's planning. Like it's in that book if you break the time codes down. I've done some of them already. They got ready for my main one. I found in 2017 onwards. I found a good couple of good, but there's some that are coming this year. But my main point is the fact that if people honoured one another and stopped contracting with the beast, you pretty much shut him down straight away. And that's my big thing: is just claim dominion over yourself and start working with, start honouring each other and just start being around good people and trying to support one another, like Jason just said. And at the end of the day, it's like the truth will always be the truth. The lie they have to keep putting out all the time. They have to put out 200 lies, but if you just tell one bit of truth, it destroys the 100 lies that they've told. Because the truth is what it is. A lie, you have to work around it. It's just false evidence. Oh, it is a lie. It's false evidence appears real. That's what fear is. False evidence appearing as real. That's it. That's all fear is. And the truth will always destroy the lie because it is what it is. A lie has to lie and tell all kinds of different ways. The truth just is there, it is what it is, and that's it. And it destroys a lie. They know this. So if we honoured one another and stop dealing with the beast, we pretty much can do what we want. As long as we don't cause harm to anybody else and we conduct ourselves right, then everything is abundant for us. It's real. It's there. The problem is the distractions that the Dark Priesthood and this Saturnalian, Roman, Jupiterian cults got in place that is doing that. But keep in mind, the planets are unique. They give out unique energies. We can all use the same energy. The problem is the Dark Priesthood are using it in a demonic way, but we can all apply the same and use the same energy. The issue is we don't know how the priesthood are doing that stuff because people don't study. That's the real aspect of it. That people don't really know the truth. Now, in regards to 2016. In the year of a 9, there's going to be a lot of ending this year because it's in the year of a 9, and obviously 9, and then next year is a 1, so new beginnings again. So a lot of stuff you'll see ending this year. There'll be lots of end all the time. There'll be end being pushed all the time, and that's because they know the age of Aquarius is coming. And I think Yeshua says, I think it's right at the end of the Biblis Helio in that book, in the Biblis Heliotech, the Bible, and I think it's one of the disciples or someone says to him, You're going to come back to me in the future. I can't remember it word for word, but it's something along the lines of, you're going to come back to us in the future. How will we know that you're going to come back? What signs we need to look for? And Yeshua turns around the line and says, go to somebody in a house and the man will be pouring water out. That's Aquarius. The metaphysics behind it are in that book, but people don't study it. And the age of Aquarius, the age of Pisces, okay, which is why the Pope wears the fish hat, the age of Pisces with the Triple Crown, with the corporation Soles are in there, and under the Sesquique Trust, is going to be destroyed because the age of Aquarius is coming, and the Roman cult know this. They can't change what's going on in the universe. They're not allowed to do that because they can't change that. So they're gearing the next system in place to get in tune with the age of Aquarius. That's what they're really doing, and that's a cosmogony that's part of the solar system and the universe. They know that, so they're making adjustments, not because they want to, because they don't have a choice. And once you can see the real truth, the dark priesthood gets cut out of the way, and you don't need it anyway. So the age of Aquarius is here and coming. They know this, and that's why they're having to change everything up, because they don't have a choice. And that's because Jupiter, I think, rules Pisces, I think, but the age of Aquarius is ruled by Uranus for 1,000 years, and then for the next 1,000 years after that is Saturn. And so they're just planning for, and that's why it talks about in Revelation, it talks about 1,000 years of peace. That's when Uranus is in the age of Aquarius. And they know this. They know that. That's because they know how the science is run in this solar system of the planet now. To be honest with you, Earth's not going to put me in here in 200 years because of the foolishness these reptilians are doing here. But I'm not going to get in on that tonight. But enough's enough. And just honour one another and just keep the truth. That's it. Because whatever they're going to do, they're going to do it. So you can't worry about what they're going to do. You just have to honour one another, do what you're doing, because whatever's going to happen will happen anyway. And so if you've honoured yourself, you'll be out there in the universe to do what you need to do, when these stupid, dumbass priests will deal with the same cause, consequence, and effect that they've been involved with, and that'll come back on them. So I think I'll end that then, and I'll yield the floor.
That's absolutely fabulous, Del. It's always great talking to you, and I love how you dig into what's behind what we see and what we feel and what we witness in the world. Something I would like to say before we sign off is thank you all very much for your support. It's absolutely overwhelming, and the new evolution of Raconteurs News is going far better than expected. It's growing really fast. It's a difficult one to bring up, but there are costs involved. Now, we're entirely self-funding this at the moment, and the costs, as we grow bigger, are going to get larger. So everything we're going to do is going to be free. The intent is to keep it free. But if you'd like to help us to grow this radio station, hopefully it'll become at some point, then we have got a donate button on the website, and it's not compulsory, but if you'd like to support what we're doing, we'd be very grateful if you can chuck a few of your currency units, whatever you can spare in there, and it would all be greatly appreciated. In the very near future, we'll be showing transparency on that, because all donations we receive will show on the website what it's being spent on, what it's being used for, and even what we need as soon as we get our heads around it. It's all happening so fast at the minute. It's a job to keep track of it. We're hoping to get a better broadcast platform than Spreaker, but that sort of thing costs money. So if you can help us there, we'd greatly appreciate it. And with that, I'd just like to say Friday, we have no guest booked as yet, apart from we're going to have half an hour talking to Jason Nota about Real Change Leeds. Jason's organising it, always a fantastic guy to talk to. He might even drag Russell Burton along with him if he can, but I know Russell's often busy at that time of night. And the following week, we've got a line-up and a half. We've got John Rappaport on Tuesday and Rick Simpson on Friday. I can't wait for that. So that just about brings tonight's show to an end. I'd like to say a massive thank you to Del. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show. And a big thank you to Jason, and a big thank you to everyone for tuning in.
Cheers, Del. Cheers, Andy.
Cheers, lads. No problem.
Right. See you Friday.
I was going to tell everybody that
Forgive everybody and remember. For each your own, for every man a religion. Face everybody and rule. Everything and more. Forget everything and remember. For everything a reason. You got the feeling. 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 Finding eternity of these reactions. Fleeing excellence affects reality. Fallen empires are rolling. Find earth and reap. Fantastic expectations. Amazing revelations. Final execution and resurrection. Free expression as revolution. Finding everything and realizing. You got the feeling. 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 You got the You got the feeling.